one's going to pass off to your north and to your east. But we know we have a lot of viewers, as Tucker mentioned, they tweet us all the time from Colonial Beach. We have a lot of Fox 5 viewers down there, and you all are in the path of this storm. Again, if it happens to continue along the path there in about 30 to 45 minutes, it's going to be right on your doorstep here. Same deal. Our friends in Dahlgreen there, it could be on your doorstep as well. And if it happens to cross the Potomac, it's going right there for Charles County, Tucker. And we know Southern Maryland certainly has a history with these storms.
Yeah, maybe you can open this up a little bit, Mike, and we can just show Southern Maryland. So, you know, earlier today while we were doing the morning show, lots of questions out of Southern Maryland about whether or not you guys needed to be concerned about tornadoes. Well, unfortunately here, it looks like, you know, this tornado-warned storm headed in your direction. So if you're in Charles County, parts of St. Mary's County, and then honestly here up into southern Prince George's County, and here in Washington, we're going to have to watch this line very carefully as it continues to track north. It is likely to spawn additional tornado warnings, but the one we're concerned about, let's zip back in, is just off to the south of Washington here, south of the Potomac. That area right there, a warned tornado. No indication of a tornado on the ground, but again, this is radar indicated with a storm system that is loosely associated with what's left of the remnants here of Ida. Yeah, there's Caroline, tornado warning until 1:15. We talked about the path of the storm, Dahlgreen, and then across the Potomac. And certainly, although the storm may lose its tornado warning, I think it's a possibility here that we're going to see additional tornado warnings kick up here pretty quick as the atmosphere. And Mike, maybe you can talk about it, just a little bit about the dynamics of what's happening here and why we get these spin-ups with these kind of days.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it here on the big picture satellite and radar for you here. And if we go ahead and we'll take me at the BAM here, we can kind of see what's going on. And a couple more. And we just want to show you that this is kind of a ever-evolving scenario here. You can see this broken line that's getting its act together in eastern portions of Virginia. And this is all kind of pinwheeling up to the north here. Again, it's this storm right now that has our attention, but farther down the line to the south, more tornado warnings and more severe thunderstorm warnings have just gone up recently. And what we need is the center of circulation, which is up here in the panhandles. Once that passes by our north and east, our tornado threat will end. But when we're on the eastern side of this thing, we tend to get a little bit of counterclockwise enhancement. We'll get a little technical for a minute, but it helps these storms kind of get an additional spin as they try to work their way. These storms are generally trying to work their way east initially, and then winds out of the south try to push them north. And that turning is what creates these tornado warnings. And again, they tend to be weak, they tend to be brief, but all it takes is wrong place, wrong time for one of these guys, and we're in trouble. So we want everybody to be cautious here. And again, we'll watch the Colonial Beach, we'll watch the Dahlgreen area, and Montrose, I think you guys are safe, but it's a close call here.
Let's talk a little bit down the road here. So this is sort of the first piece of energy coming through for the afternoon hours, but we've got more out to the west.
Yeah, more out to the west, although this will primarily be rain. And for those watching from the I-81 corridor, more of a rain event for you as you work your way kind of inbound there. Again, once we get out that far west, we're not really talking about the severe weather threat, but there's a couple of different waves of energy in the atmosphere that have to rotate through up through Washington first before things will kind of settle down for us here.
All right, if you're just tuning in and you're wondering what's going on, we got a tornado warning for Essex County there. I think Essex County just was let go, and it's right here.
Right, Caroline County.
Yeah, just Caroline County until 1:15.
And it looks like it was just expanded.
Oh, and it was just expanded there. This is what we're concerned about, and this is why we're live on the air, because now we just mentioned Dahlgreen. We took a live shot. Maybe we can go back to that live shot. Now under tornado warning here. Thank you. And that's clearly the Potomac there. And this has now been expanded to include King George County, and that's what we were talking about. The potential for King George County being under that tornado warning until 1:30. So this storm is racing off to the north and east at 40 miles per hour. And listen, it's almost outracing its coverage here. I would not be at all surprised if we don't see these warnings get expanded to include additional parts of southern Maryland. Mike?
Yeah, we're seeing, again, you can see the storms already building. I mean, St. Mary's County is starting to get in on a little bit of the action, but that is not the tornado warning portion of the storm. Again, it's this one coming right up through Port Royal right now. Again, if you're watching us from Port Royal, if you're watching us from Dahlgreen, please take shelter. Tornado watch means you got to keep your guard up for it. Tornado warning means at the very least radar is indicating that there's a high likelihood that a tornado could briefly touch down. So you want to get to the interior portions of your home or the lowest northwest level of your home if you're able to do that.
Right. We want to emphasize this does not mean that there's a tornado on the ground. This is a radar-indicated tornado, but the equipment today is so sophisticated that it can really find spin in the atmosphere before you can see it. So you want to take it seriously.
And again, King George County, you're the latest one that was added to this warning. It goes until 1:30 p.m. And we are seeing things. I mean, this system is racing off to the north and to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So it might not even be raining in Dahlgreen right now, or maybe just a couple of raindrops, maybe no wind at the moment. But things could go downhill rather quickly as, again, just down county from you, this storm is racing off to the north and east at, again, about 40 miles per hour.
So this warning was extended into King George County in advance of the main cell down by Bowling Green. And this is the warning that we're part of the storm over AP Hill. That's about 7 miles northeast of Bowling Green. And this portion of the storm moving at about 25 miles an hour. So yeah, if you zoom up, you see the actual cell back a little bit farther to the west. But you put a tracker on that, and that would go all the way through Dahlgren, through King George County, and then potentially...
Yeah, let's go ahead and track it. Again, it's moving fast, Caitlin. And by the way, good to see you, Caitlin. Welcome to the coverage here as we switch between the morning and the afternoon crowd. But we'll go through the next 45 minutes or so because, again, if this is moving fast enough, they are going to start to warn into Maryland as well. So you're not warned at the moment, but portions of Charles County, particularly southern central Charles County, we want you to be ready just in case this one crosses the Potomac and continues to have the type of veracity that it's showing right now. So Colonial Beach, you got until about 1:14, although, again, I think that estimate may be a little on the low side. So I would say get yourself to shelter right now. You might have 5 to 10 minutes to get yourself in a safe spot there. Dahlgreen, you're in it a minute later, and then as we start crossing into unwarned areas, if it stays warned, Allen's Fresh, you'll be in the path of this guy, and then eventually La Plata as well, just after 1:30 this afternoon. Tuck?
Yeah, things are happening very quickly here. So this is, what we call a fluid situation. It will continue to deteriorate, to be honest with you. We saw some of this, didn't see the tornadic activity last night, but we did see the severe thunderstorms, and things fell apart very, very quickly. So it's not going to take a whole lot. The atmosphere is very primed here for additional severe thunderstorms. And Mike, just tell me, I think that's a warned severe thunderstorm as well now, right?
Down to the south of...
South.
Yeah, way down to the south near Richmond, there's a severe thunderstorm warned.
Okay, so there we go. So again, this is racing off to the north and east at about 40 miles per hour. And I would expect that in the near term here, in the next couple hours, we are going to see additional warnings. And listen, just because we're here in downtown Washington, D.C. does not mean that we will not be dealing with this. We're starting to see storms fire up just to our west. Perhaps we can zoom in and around Washington here, and things can happen very quickly. So here we are along 95, and we're starting to see storms just literally in the last 15 minutes flare up, and certainly a possibility that those could cause some issues as well. Looks like this cell continues to intensify down here, the one that's warned, and again, just in the last few minutes, expanded now to include King George County there, and then passing up into parts of southern Maryland just across the Potomac. There you go again. King George County under a tornado warning here until 1:30 this afternoon. What do you do if there's a tornado warning? Well, if you're in the path of the storm, you got to take it seriously. Please take it seriously. You know, all morning long, I've been reminding people, we saw what a few inches of rain can do in a short period of time. Unfortunately, with the situation in Montgomery County earlier today and the flooding there, please take this seriously. The weather today, definitely on the dangerous side. And anytime we get a tornado warning from the National Weather Service, we got to treat it as if there's a tornado on the ground. So there you go. It looks as if that storm cell continues to intensify, and no doubt about it, bringing very heavy rain to that part of the area, and certainly a possibility that we could have a tornado there down in King George County. And again, tornado warning until 1:30 this afternoon. All right, Mike, what's the latest? Anything new?
I mean, again, just big picture, like you mentioned, we're also concerned. I mean, I know the tornadoes warning is out right now, but 2-inch-an-hour rainfall rates, you do have to be concerned about flash flooding in this area. But big picture, and we're going to hop into the details a little bit. And it's not what you would call a strong radar signature for a tornado, but if there was a tornado on the ground, it would be just south of Port Royal there, and I'll kind of circle it for you so you know the area I'm looking at. You're looking at this area right here. That would be where it would be, and I believe this is across in Caroline County for now. It has not yet crossed into King George, but you'll want to be ready for that because once it does cross, it could move northward rather quickly here. So back to storm tracker radar, and you can see this is just a 1 hour loop, and in that time span, it came from almost Laurel there in Virginia and worked its way right up into central portions of Caroline County, and it's now almost exited Caroline County and gotten into portions of King George there, southern portions of King George. So you're probably watching from, say, Dahlgreen here. Colonial Beach, again, you're kind of on the fringes of it. It does look like the tornado, if it was on the ground, would stay just off to your north, but we would want you to be weather aware anyway. Again, maybe your northern suburbs are kind of in this warning, but the downtown area is not, but it's right on the edge. So always better safe than sorry in these types of situations. And again, this storm continues the race off. Again, the latest track on it is moving about 35, 40 miles per hour off to the north. So we'll throw a couple of communities. Again, the tornado would probably be right about there. And if it continues on its current trajectory in the next 35 or so minutes, it would hit Port Royal at about 1:06 p.m., 1:14 for Office Hall there, Gulvey at 1:17 p.m., and then at 1:26, it would reach the city of Dahlgreen there. And if it did hold its intensity beyond Dahlgreen, we're talking about it crossing the Potomac. And when they cross the Potomac here, that's flat water. We tend to get rotational enhancement. And as it gets into southern Maryland, Charles County, we don't call southern Maryland the local tornado alley for nothing. You guys could have to keep your guard up here as these storms continue to work their way north.
So, Mike, maybe you can help everybody at home understand how is a tornado different in a typical tropical storm and a hurricane versus, the tornadoes that we forecast sometimes in the summer thunderstorms or, what you might see in Oklahoma?
So it has everything to do, and again, this is going to get technical, but it has to do essentially with how tall the cloud tops are and how strong the updrafts are. These are not tall thunderstorms that are coming across. They have what we call very low base and very low tops. They're probably 20 to 30,000 foot thunderstorms at most. The ones that create the ones you see in the Midwest, the ones that create the ones, say, College Park back in 2001, those are 50 to 60,000 foot thunderstorms. So you get stronger updrafts, which gives you stronger tornado formation. With tropical systems, they tend to be much more shallow and much more brief in terms of the tornadic activity. So again, we typically don't get long-lived tornadic thunderstorms, but every now and then we get one that's on the ground for 15 to 30 minutes, and that seems to be, and not that it's on the ground yet, but this one at least is showing indications that the storm rotation is strong enough that it could potentially put one down in this area briefly as it works its way northward here, Tuck.
Yeah, this is in a really, just to jump in, guys, if there is a tornado, it's in a pretty rural spot just to the south and east of Port Royal. And I know this is a little bit outside of our viewing area, but Route 301 and Route 17, kind of that bisection of right before you would cross the river. That's where, at least if there is any, the rotations being picked up on radar right near those communities. So Port Royal, they're next in line, and then up into the King George area, Dahlgren, all the communities that Mike just mentioned. But those are, it's a pretty rural area down there.
Yeah.
I can't even find any community names that the rotation's right over.
We've got a live shot, so let's go down and take a look. Apparently the visibility's improved just a little bit down on the Potomac. Thank you. Yeah, you can see it there. And this is the part of the world here, right along the Potomac there and then down into King George County that we're concerned about. All right, I want to talk about another concern just quickly. I know we're dealing with a tornado warning, but the tornado watch has been issued for most everybody here. Perhaps we can show that again. If you're just joining us, we are all locally east of I-81 there out in the mountains under a tornado watch until 7 p.m. tonight. All of this area is shaded in red under a tornado watch. And listen, all the ingredients are there for additional tornado watches and warnings to be issued later this afternoon. We've got a lot going on. We've got a lot of thunderstorm activity that's just firing up. Now we're seeing new storms start to develop here just off to the north and to the east. And listen, with an atmosphere as primed and ready to go as this one, it's just not going to take a whole lot to cause a couple things for you. A, additional tornado warnings. B, additional flooding issues. And speaking of flooding, I just quickly want to touch on what's happening off to the north and west. Mike, perhaps we can get up into the mountain communities. I know we've got viewers up here, and we've got a lot of flooding issues now starting to take shape in western Maryland. Out in the mountains, we're getting reports of Jefferson County of a lot of problems, and the rain is just really coming down here. Here's some of the rain totals here, over 2.5 inches. And of course, out in the mountains, all that rain will fall, get down into the rivers, into the creeks, and eventually into the Potomac and that kind of thing. And we will have additional flooding issues out here. You can see very heavy rain at this hour from roughly Frederick stretching up towards Hagerstown there. And that rain will continue to come down for a few more hours. So we are not done with the rain and the flooding threat around here. I do know that Montgomery County is letting their students go early today, and we've had a lot of early dismissals and school closures because of it. All right, why are we on? We got a tornado warning here, and again, this is in effect until 1:30. King George County, which is just south there of the Potomac, continues to be under that tornado warning. And we've got a storm that's racing off to the north and east at 40 miles per hour. Do not have any indication from anybody that's seen a visual sighting of a tornado, but radar indicated here. This will continue to threaten parts of our viewing area over the short term here. And just, you know, I just mentioned a few minutes ago, I'll mention it again. Please take it seriously. I know we've seen a lot of tornado warnings the last couple of weeks and had a lot of weather issues. Doesn't mean that this one is not the real thing. And you really want to take it seriously here. So here's some of the areas impacted in the next 15 to 20 minutes. How about Dahlgreen at 126, Potomac Shores at 144, and then La Plata, you guys would be up by about the 145 time frame. So again, the storm is just racing off to the north and east at 40 miles per hour. When we take a large, let's back it up again, Mike, and show the big picture. We've got lots more energy we still got to work through here. So we've got the remnants of Ida, and it's now interacting with a frontal system, and we're just watching these storms kind of blossom along it, and we're going to continue to see more and more storm activity over the next several hours. So again, this story will continue to kind of write itself over the near term, and we're likely to have, in addition to additional tornado warnings, I think some serious flooding concerns by late this afternoon. Caitlin?
Yeah, speaking of flooding, I do want to get to a live picture that we have out in western Maryland, because this is the area where we've been seeing the worst flooding so far. We'll continue to. This is right at the juncture of I-68 and I-70. So yes, you're getting far out into western Maryland, of course. But for all of our viewers out there, you know, you're having a very different day than we are in D.C. Steady, heavy rain that's been ongoing through the night and into your Wednesday. And the tornado threat, it does not really exist there. We've kind of got two separate setups for active weather today in our viewing area. And this, you know, I mean, it's pouring. The rain continues. The flood warnings are mostly just north and just west, although the most active one gets just west of Cumberland. So it does include Frostburg. But the whole area has to be concerned, you know, about flooding when they are going to continue all day long to just see this persistent, heavy, steady rain. So it is kind of two issues that we're watching. The flooding and flash flooding off to our north and west, and then also the severe concerns with the tornado warnings that are ongoing just to our south and east. This is going to kind of converge over D.C.
Mike, maybe you want to talk to us about what you're seeing with the velocity.
Yeah, I'm just going way in here to get an idea of where the tornado would be. Again, right over Etha right now. If you're watching us from Etha, you would be right underneath of where this tornado could possibly be. Just north of Brandywine 2, you all just would have been hit. And then just to the south and to the east of Port Royal. Again, it's not the strongest rotation I've ever seen, but you typically don't get strong rotations in these types of hurricane-driven or post-hurricane-driven systems. So again, that is just about to exit now. That's Caroline County. It's just about to exit Caroline County and head up into King George County. And then the threat will kind of be all King George from that point. So southern parts of Caroline County, you're at least in the clear from this one, but I do see that's a tornado possible warned cell just to the south of Route 64 that's heading northbound too. And if that one continues on its trajectory, St. Mary's County, portions of southern Maryland may have to watch out in a half hour to an hour for yet more activity. And Tucker mentioned kind of the line forming now. I know you're probably starting to hear thunder roar a little bit in portions of Prince William County, Fairfax County, doing it again. Same areas that were hit very hard during the overnight hours, right along I-66, starting to pick up some thunderstorm activity, coming right up towards Arlington. They'll be under it in the next 15 minutes with some heavy shower. Charles County now inundated with thunderstorms, though none warned, but the heaviest storm is, again, just to your south, about to cross out of Caroline and get into King George County. This is a tornado-warned storm. Tornado warning remains in effect until 1:30 for about the next 20 minutes there. And the portion of the storm we would be concerned with is that would be just about to cross the border into the southern portion of the county. Storm is racing off to the north at about 40 miles per hour. The tornadic portion would get up to the north if it held together over the course of the next hour. These would be some of the communities impacted. Again, welcome, 1:14. Well, thank you, Virginia, there, and welcome. 1:14 p.m. would be when the tornado would be on your doorstep, so just a few minutes away. Dahlgreen, 1:30 p.m. Allen's Fresh at 1:42, and by 2 p.m. we're Masons. And again, Mason's not currently warned at this time, but if the system happens to hold together as it crosses the Potomac, those are some of the communities that could be impacted.
Yeah, let's just quickly here on the Storm Tracker radar. Michael, thank you for your expertise there with the tornado warning. Just want to show you here. This is 95.
Oh, we have a new tornado warning, guys.
Okay, we're watching a lot flare up here. I was about to mention we got more. Okay, so
All right,
what do we
Mike,
have?
where's our latest one?
We have
That
a new
looks
one
like Charles County.
County that just went up. So just mentioned Charles County. You got to be on guard, and this is why. So new one, Charles County in Maryland, tornado warned storm until 1:45. This does extend, and I'll go ahead and take the radar off.
Yeah, take the radar off.
This does extend into southern portions of Prince George's County. So
excellent.
Activity really starting to rev up a little bit around here, guys. So that one goes again until 1:45 p.m. And again, on radar, it doesn't look that ominous. It's a small little cell, but if we kind of pause things at the latest frame, you can almost see a minor little hook in. We'll dive in, just see a touch of rotation, and we'll go down the street level for you guys. Just south of Grosstown, that's where you would kind of see a little bit of rotation there. Just to the southwest, about to cross Route 6. Just to the east of Du Bois, be on alert there. Take shelter immediately if you're in any of these towns. Hughesville, you will be in the path of this one. And again, we'll go ahead and kind of time this one out for you as it works its way northward. This one could be in Hughesville, 1:24. So that's, again, less than 10 minutes for you to prepare. Rosaryville at about 1:48, 1:53 for Mount Calvert, and then Deal after that at about 1:59 p.m. So we warned you guys this morning. We said this afternoon was going to be busy, and things, Tucker and Caitlin, things really starting to ramp up here across eastern portions of our viewing area.
Yeah, and it all looks like it's riding along the same line of showers and thunderstorms, which are developing very, very quickly here. They are racing off to the north and east at about 40 miles an hour, and we're watching storms now, or showers and storms starting to approach the southern side of the Beltway. So, you know, our viewers here close in, be on standby, because I'll be honest with you, at any point here, we could see additional storm activity lead to tornadic activity, or the potential for tornadic activity. All right, why are we interrupting your program? We've got not one, but two warned storms here. Mike, you want to comment on that one?
Yeah, so again, this is the first one. This is the newest one that just went up. This is in Charles County in Maryland. It does extend into southern portions of Prince George's County. That is this cell right here that goes until 1:45 p.m. The other one is in King George County. Caroline County is still included until 1:30, but they may drop that early because most of that cell is just about to enter King George here. So two separate systems with two separate areas of rotation. Neither one has been confirmed on the ground. These are all what we call radar indication, where the radar is just indicating enough of a spin that it's seeing within the storm that we could potentially do a brief touchdown of one of these tornadoes across parts of the county here in these warned zones. The one that actually looks like the more ominous of the two to me as I pause it is this one in Charles County. You can kind of clearly, Tucker, if you want to point it out on screen there, you can kind of clearly see the hook in the storm. And again, these are not major signatures. These are weak little signatures there, but it's enough that you could quickly put down a little touchdown or a little spin down, and that would be enough to do a little bit of damage and cause, you know, life-threatening conditions briefly. So make sure you're taking it seriously if you're in the path of some of these stores. Mason, Malcolm, Orem, all in the path of some of these storms within the next 15 minutes.
Honestly, the rotation down by Port Royal, not so bad either. So both of these situations, I know the one just southwest of Hughesville has more of a radar signature indicative of a tornado tornado within the storm, but
yeah,
just
absolutely
northeast
right.
of Port Royal, that is the best looking velocity signature I've seen so far today. So that would indicate to me that not only are we continuing to see rotation, but it's intensifying. This is in the secondary warning, which is just to the southwest and kind of right over Port Royal. But again, that's taking a similar path as the one that's just out ahead of it. So Port Royal through Dahlgren, Allen's Fresh, La Plata, Waldorf, all these communities that were in these 2 tornado warnings, you definitely want to take them seriously. Get to the lowest level of your community. We've got multiple threats out there today. And even though we haven't had any reports of anything confirmed, cited on the ground, the radar indicated rotation is at least looking rather healthy, I would say, in both storms.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, I think we've got a live camera. We can go. Is this near Brandywine? Yeah, and you can see that we're under not one but now 2 separate tornado warnings for Charles County, Prince George's County, and King George County here. This is why we've broken in. And a live shot there. It looks like it's just rain and doesn't look terribly ominous there. But, you know, a heads up here. We're down near Maryland 5 there at 301 South. That things could turn ugly in a hurry. All right, you guys have been showing the velocity maps. Perhaps you can go to the velocity map. And Mike or Caitlin, kind of explain what you're seeing here, because I'm not sure the average viewer really understands what they're looking at when they see these tracker velocities.
Right, it just looks like Christmas.
Right.
So much red and green, and it doesn't make any sense. It's usually more helpful for us, the meteorologists, so we can give you a better location of where we're seeing the rotation. I know it doesn't mean much to our viewers, but basically the pattern of greens and reds, not to get too technical, inbound, outbound from the radar. Basically, when you see all those colors right up against each other, like Mike is circling right there, that means rotation. You've got winds going away from the radar and towards, and that indicates turning of the winds with height, therefore rotation within the storm and a possible tornado. So we look for those signatures where you see just north and east of Port Royal, there's like a little bit of red right on top of the green, and then a little less so up south and east of La Plata. But the same idea. It's the flags that we look for within the velocity map.
And it does allow us, specifically with a couple of these storms, for example, in Hughesville right now, if I pause the radar, on the northern edge of this storm is where a lot of the rain is, which means if you're looking out the window, you're not going to see any, like everybody thinks of the movie Twister when you see tornadoes on it. You're not going to see anything that looks like that if you look out your window with these storms. These are much weaker tornadoes than anything you would think you'd see if you've only seen the Hollywood movies or Storm Chasers on one of the other channels there. But for these systems, you look out, you see the heavy rain coming down. In order to get a better idea of exactly where the rotation is and exactly where that tornado would be, we use velocity. And I'll use Hughesville as an example right now. Grosstown, it's kind of right on top of you. It's about to cross over 231. It looks like right where 231 comes to an end there. And like Oliver Shop Road, about to go right up Oliver Shop Road and head towards Route 5 there, or Route 5 there in Maryland. Cracklingtown Road, if you're near there, it's kind of right on top of you or about to be right on top of you shortly. And we'll just kind of throw out a couple of others. Bryanttown Road, Mount Eagle Lane, Gallant Lane. You guys are in the path of what would be this tornado that is in, again, northern portions of Charles County, stretching over. This warning does stretch over into southern portions of Prince George's County, where you guys are starting to pick up on the rain and thunderstorm activity. You do have time. Get yourself, again, interior portion of your home, interior bathroom, lowest level of your home, if you're able to do so. If you got a basement, excellent. Get yourself down to the basement, get into an interior level of your home, and stay away from windows and from doors. Caitlin?
Yeah, all good advice, Mike, because these are all kind of tracking to the north and east as well. So just also heads up if you are north and east of some of these warnings, because look at the momentum. Yes, from southwest to northeast, these storms are lifting. Now, they're individual storms, and with that, we are always on alert because those are the ones that are really turning and will start to rotate. But the overall momentum of these storms is from southwest to northeast, and most of this is south and east of the D.C. area. But we're getting closer to the metro here. So Charles County into southern Prince George's County. Everyone in Prince George's County should be on alert because if this storm continues to rotate, it's headed quickly into southern Prince George's County, possibly even clipping northwestern Calvert County, southwestern Anne Arundel County, and it would be within these communities very quickly. So even if you are not actually under this tornado warning, we expect them to continue. So communities in the path, yes, Hughesville, we've been talking about you. but even upstream of there, Pinefield, Rosaryville, Upper Marlboro, even Queen Anne, we're starting to get really close into some metro communities, close to the Beltway.
And let me just mention, in the last 15 minutes or so, I know this is not a warned area, but it's really started to flare up, and this is going to be moving right across the city here, parts of Prince George's County, and close in. So listen, again, not going to take a lot for us to find additional warned storms that spin up very, very quickly. These are not, again, very powerful tornadoes, but with the atmosphere and the shape it's in, we could see things quickly spin up here. So really be on guard now in and around the immediate Washington area, as we could see a tornado warning go up at any time, as we've got a lot of instability here and a lot of twist in the atmosphere.
Also, notice all the rain, guys, getting inside the Beltway too. So into DC.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and do a little refresher though for the tornado warning cells that we do have out there. We'll start you off with the one that started earliest here, and that was the one that's now in King George County. This one approaching the Dahlgreen area as we speak. This tornado warning is in effect for 10 more minutes until 1:30 p.m. It is due to radar indicated rotation. We'll hop on into velocity here, and you see, Caitlin mentioned it earlier. That's probably the best signal we've seen so far. Just crossed Route 3 in southern portions, or Virginia State Highway 3 there in southern portions of King George County. It's about to cross 205. And again, if we zoom in more, Gulvey, the community of Gulvey, it's kind of right on top of you right now. And it's going to continue to work its way northward. And I believe that's 9 just north of you. You guys are going to see a little bit of this. And then Chestnut Hill, it's going to pass just off to your west. And Dahlgreen, I'm worried about you because you look like you would take a direct hit from this guy if it happens to continue to push on northward. I believe we have a camera shot for you near Dahlgreen, and you can start to see some of the heavy rain there falling, guys. Tucker, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, listen, and what's important here is not only are we dealing with tornado warnings, but we're dealing with locally very heavy rain, and you can get some gusty winds. And again, this is up near Dahlgreen, where we've had a storm that was radar indicated to be tornadic in the past half hour, and this area remains under a tornado warning until 1:30 this afternoon. So again, under a tornado warning here until 1:30 this afternoon. What does it mean if it's radar indicated? It means that our radar has picked up enough circulation that the Weather Service is concerned that there could be a tornado on the ground. It does not mean that there's a confirmed tornado, but it does mean you need to take it very seriously and get yourself to a place of shelter and a place where you're protected. We saw, unfortunately, last night with the locally heavy rain up in Montgomery County, things can get ugly in a hurry here. So make sure that you are taking this seriously. This is King George County, and now we've got additional tornado warnings that have pushed up into Charles County and southern parts of Prince George's County, which are in effect until basically 1:45 to 2 o'clock. So things have really started to deteriorate in the past half hour or so, and this was expected. But that doesn't mean that it's not a situation that will not be on the dangerous side for the next couple hours weather-wise, as we'll continue to see tornadic thunderstorms develop in and across our area. Caitlin?
And keep in mind, too, with the two threats of the heavy rain and the tornadoes, a lot of the times, especially when you have twisting and turning of storms in tropical systems, the rotation's embedded within the storm and it's raining. So they're rain wrapped. You can't really see anything very well. So even though we continue to show you these tornado warnings, and this is the one that we're following that's just north and west of Hughesville, to the north, Malcolm, I don't know how to pronounce that community, but I'm going to do my best guess. Orme, Ashbox, and North Keys. These are all small communities in the path of this storm. But you don't even want to try to go outside in it because there's heavy rain within the cell. And sometimes if there is a little flare-up of rotation, if there is some lowering, if there is a funnel cloud, you wouldn't even be able to see it. So along with that, we don't want you on the roads today as we're under a flash flood watch. And any of these storms at any point can dump a lot of rain. So you've got the two threats and the two reasons not to be outside if you don't have to. Our biggest concern remains to the south and east of D.C. right now. You've got twin tornado warnings that we've been following and we're on the air with. The one that's closer to the metro that includes portions of Charles and southern Prince George's County, that goes until 1:45 p.m. There's definitely rotation we're seeing within that cell at the base of it as it tracks to the north and the east. And then downwind of that, you've still got this tornado warning for King George. That is set to expire at 1:30. We'll see. National Weather Service may extend it if they believe there's enough rotation within there. Again, we haven't seen anything lightning that's been spotted, but we might not see anything. That's the problem. A lot of these can be wrapped up in all of the heavy rain, so you wouldn't see it anyway. So we just have to go based off of radar-indicated storm skies. But yeah, these are the two that we're watching. We haven't had any other severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings locally, but we watched that threat come up from the south, from the Richmond area, and now we've got these two right over
And
us.
interesting enough, Caitlin, not a lot of lightning, particularly out of
True.
that storm in Charles County that's now about to exit and head towards southern Prince George's County. So if you're listening and you're like, well, it doesn't sound that bad outside, be warned. And again, this is often an effect of these tropical systems. You can spin up these tornadoes without a lot of lightning, without a lot of thunder. Again, don't anticipate this being like the movie Twister, for example. It's not
Right.
going to be that ominous. It's not going to be booming thunder. It could come and go very, very quickly.
It might not be like last night, which we all woke up to at 3 in the morning. The booming thunder, all the lightning. That was a very loud storm that announced its presence, but these may not as much. They just have that rotation in there that you can't see or hear.
Yeah, maybe, Mike, can we back up the map a little bit here? And we're approaching the 1:30 time frame here, and I just want to set the stage again. We've got Ida's remnants coming through. We've been talking about it the last couple of days, what to expect. Well, we're starting to really see it verify. Big picture here. You can see the heaviest of the rain racing up into Pennsylvania at this hour. This red box you see is a tornado watch box. We're all locally under tornado watch until 7 o'clock this evening. Things are a little more stable in the mountains. You are not under tornado watch, but you are getting very, very heavy rain, and we have widespread reports of flooding off to the north and west. Can we zoom into the immediate Washington area? Because I just want to show you, we're getting a couple different waves now of shower and thunderstorm activity. And just a heads up, we've had so much rain around here the past couple weeks. I mean, literally 9 inches of rain in the month of August. I know it's now September the 1st, but 9 inches of rain. We do not need what we've got filling in on our radar right now, and that is locally very heavy rain. I would expect, I think most of the weather community expects that we are going to get some flood warnings going pretty soon. And again, we saw what happened in Montgomery County last night. It can happen again very quickly. So please don't try to drive through flooded waterways. Take it seriously here. This water will really start to add up and start to accumulate in our roadways very, very quickly. All right, what are the red boxes? Again, these are tornado warnings. We've got this tornado warning. That's been expanded now, let me get out of your way, until 2 o'clock. Charles and King George County until 2 o'clock. They expanded that just north across the Potomac. And then we've got an additional tornado warning there. That includes Charles County and Prince George's County until 1:45. And again, that's southern Prince George's County. And both complexes, both thunderstorms, with your expertise, look as if they could have at least some rotation, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the reissue of the King George warning was because we continue to see rotation flare up, and it looks rather healthy each time I look at it, more so. This would be, if there is a tornado within that storm, just west of Potomac Beach and Colonial Beach. So, you know, we have viewers from Colonial Beach. Thank you for watching. You are just kind of around this tornado warning, it looks like to me. You're close enough that I would be concerned, and I would take shelter as well. Colonial Beach, Potomac Beach, you guys are all communities. Dahlgren, of course, but and it looks like the worst of the rotation is just south of there. So Mike's putting on some communities in the path of this storm that would be there momentarily. So from Nindy to Shiloh, Allen's Fresh, Newport, that's the track that the rotation is taking to the north and east and crossing the Potomac and getting into Charles County, which already has a warning with it, of course. But this was the one that was just extended. Really a nasty kind of looking storm right there over Dahlgren.
Yeah, I guess if there's good news with these storms, they're racing off to the north and east. So, you know, not that we're not going to have flooding concerns with these guys, but they're moving so quickly that perhaps they'll, you know, just kind of be out of your neighborhood real quick. But big picture here, we're really starting to see the storm tracker radar fill in here. It looks like we got a secondary area of concern there off to the south and west out along 29 out towards Culpeper and out into central Virginia, where we may be seeing developing showers and thunderstorms. Thank you. Yep, right out near Culpeper and Spotsylvania. And we're going to have to watch that line very carefully as well to see if we don't fire up some tornadic activity along that line. So overall, the big picture, tornado watch here until 7 o'clock this evening. And now we've seen, unfortunately, not one but two tornado warnings for our region. This is southern Maryland and parts of Virginia there right along the Potomac. King George County until 1:30. Charles and Prince George's County until 1:45. Both storms are racing off to the north and east at between 35 and 40 miles an hour. Both storms remain a threat, and again, just really want to hit home with you. Take these storms seriously. They have a history of producing flooding rains, and we've seen several tornadoes. We saw several tornadoes yesterday down to the south and west, down near Charlottesville. And although these are radar indicated, not confirmed on the ground, we have to take them seriously as if they are, in fact, tornadoes on the ground. Looks like we just had a tornado warning that was let go.
I believe that was the one in southern King George County where the tornado had kind of moved on from it. So the only one that kind of remains there is where the tornado would actually be, and that would be northern portions and eastern portions of King George County. And they did extend it into extreme southern portions. If you're on the shore right there in Charles County along 257 where it turns into 254, again, I'm not getting any commute. Woodbury Beach, there you go, Woodland Point, and then the Morgantown area, you all have been placed under this tornado warning because there is concern that this storm could in fact cross the Potomac here, and once it does so, it could retain its tornadic capabilities there, and potentially again we could be dealing with some wind damage as this guy comes northward. We should mention at this time that we do not, and we can go to the camera if we want while I mention this, because we do have a camera right over Dahlgreen there, and this is on the Maryland side near Newburgh. This is what we're seeing, and there's a lot of heavy rain coming down for sure, and that's going to reduce visibilities. Again, you're not going to see any type of large cone twister coming at you. That's not this type of situation, but you can get these brief spin-ups that can bring down some branches, power lines, and do some damage. So again, we encourage everybody, get away from the outside portions of your house, get away from the windows, get away from the doors, get to interior portions of your house, and again, seek shelter from these storms as they move their way northbound. We'll go ahead and dive in again. We are seeing rotation maybe weaken just a touch. It's kind of getting overblown on its eastern flank, which could be a sign of weakening. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that, but this would be where the tornado would be. So you see our friends in Colonial Beach. It would be on your northern suburbs, kind of right between Colonial Beach and Dahlgreen. That is where this system is passing on by here, and we'll go ahead and kind of dive in closer.
Yeah, we decided to expand it.
And oh, yep, you're absolutely right. They just decided to go ahead and expand it. So this now includes portions of Charles and St. Mary's County. This will go until 2 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get you, and that's a wide warned area there. So latest for you, Caitlin, go ahead.
Yeah, so we now kind of have 3 separate tornado warnings that are connecting, which just means the whole path is showing stores forming and rotating very quickly. So Charles and St. Mary's, you're now under a tornado warning until 2 p.m. And I think that was the most recent one, right? Because we have another one to the north, yes. For more northeastern sections of Charles County and Prince George's, that goes until 1:45. But with the, you're basically sandwiched with this newest warning between 2 older warnings. So anywhere really from King George County straight up into southern Prince George's County, you are under a tornado warning. So if you live within any one of these red polygons, you want to take shelter. And like Mike just said, get to a basement, the lowest level of your home, away from the windows. Keep the radar on. You have it on your phone. FOX5 weather app can tell you when the warning expires, but don't try to go out and do anything until it does so. Because now that we have several of these cells kind of lifting from southwest to northeast, it's almost like they're behaving like each other. They all start doing the same thing, and they're all individual enough that they're all rotating. So we do have those active warnings now that go until at least 2 p.m. for central sections of Charles County. Anyone who's from the Dahlgren area up through Waldorf, La Plata. I mean, if you're not in the warning, you're close enough to the warning that you want to be careful. Colonial Beach, of course, you're right on the edge of that one warning, but you're in the part of the warning that looks like maybe it was just shaved off a bit. For King George County, but that's okay. The storms are moving to the north. That's why they reissued it. And that's why it looks like the storm that's the worst of it right now, right over Dahlgren, that's going to be moving to the north and east, and it'll just kind of be following those other 2 cells that are upstream of it. And there's the rotation within. It would, again, be sandwiched somewhere right between Dahlgren and Colonial Beach. So if there is a tornado within this storm, and we've seen rotation now for about half an hour or so, I'd say, that's where it is. And it's moving to the north and east at 25 miles an hour, but it's also moving into these other tornado-warned storms. So you would think they would all kind of come together, but no, they're all still individual enough with different pockets of rotation. And here's another one, and this one is in our northernmost storm. So you're getting into Prince George's County now. It's northwest of Aquasco and just about to cross the border. This is where the rotation would be, by the way. Malcolm, I guess that would be the community that it's right over. And that's where you kind of see those reds and greens just jumped. This happens. They're moving really quickly, so the rotation's moving really fast. Now just jumped 381, Route 381, and just to the south and east of Ashbox, just to the south and west of Bald Eagle. So if you live around any of these communities, if you're familiar with them, if you live north and east of there, you've got that storm headed your way. These are the pockets of rotation that we're following that's within these tornado-warned storms. And Mike just put a tracker on it. So if you live in North Keys, Mount Calvert, you see we're getting pretty far north here, up into Harwood. If this holds together, we keep seeing the rotation, you're in the path of the storm, so you want to take cover right now and take this seriously with these storms, because we now have 3 separate tornado warnings as Mike zooms out. You can see the radars on top of the warnings right now. So you've got 3 different warnings, 3 different cells. They're lined up right there, this trifecta of them, from parts of coastal Virginia across the Potomac into southern Maryland, and then you've got the northernmost part of this one storm moving into Prince George's County. Also, guys, a lot of rain filling in inside the Beltway, too. No tornado warnings there, but we're starting to get what looks to me like pockets of some pretty heavy rain into D.C., or at least into the Arlington, Alexandria area. Always a concern.
Yeah, under these same areas that were just hit this morning. And again, about between 1 and 4 o'clock this morning, we had a doozy of a storm that came right up through Fairfax County. We had a flash flood warning go up about 4 in the morning, woke a lot of folks up in western portions of Fairfax County there. And we could be dealing, again, it won't take much. I'm particularly concerned with this batch of storms that's coming up near Hartwood, because it's got a lot of heavy rain with it. And as this guy comes northward over these same areas that were hit this morning, and it is starting to rain across most of Montgomery County, across most of Fairfax County, you're putting down additional rain on top of what we already had. So we could start to see some flash flood watches, or I'm sorry, flash flood warnings, which means flash flooding is occurring going up not too far from now. But in the meantime, at the moment here, the biggest concerns, and it looks like they just shaved this one down a little bit here in southern Prince George's County, or at least they've taken it out of the northern portions of Charles County. But don't worry, Charles County, because you've got another one right on its tail, again, coming up near Allen's Fresh. So 2 tornado warned cells right now at this time. 3 separate warnings, but just for 2 cells at this hour. As activity really starts to wind up. And again, according to the latest futurecast guidance we've been looking at, it could be a very busy next few hours here, as we could have several more warned storms here as this line of storms, as this line of showers, this line of thunderstorms continues to get its act together around the remnants of this once powerful, powerful hurricane. Again, even though it's not the 150 mile per hour winds it was when it made landfall, these systems can still cause a lot of problems as they come northward. We're hearing, and I'm reading currently off screen, about a number of rivers off to the north and west in the Maryland and West Virginia panhandle dealing with massive flooding problems at this hour. But our concerns at the immediate time are for these tornado warned cells. And you see more storms, and I want you to look south real quick into eastern portions of Virginia there. You can see more storms firing down to the south, and these are all going to move south to north at a steady pace. So we'll head back into southern Maryland, because that seems to be where most of the action is right now. Again, latest warnings we have are this one in southern portions of Charles County that extends and just kind of clips extreme western portions of St. Mary's County. That one goes until 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll pause the storm and we'll dive on in if there was a storm on the ground. And again, so far we have not had any confirmation that any tornado was on the ground with these cells. But if there was one, it would be just off to the east of Dahlgreen there, and it would be approaching 257. In fact, it is getting a little worse as it approaches the Shiloh area. We have another camera for you here. You can see visibility's definitely reduced there, Tuck, as the wind's starting to blow and the rain's starting to come down awfully heavy.
Yeah, storms are racing here, guys, and Dahlgreen has been under a tornado warning now for the better part of 45 minutes, and we're watching it, at least the possibility of that tornado passing just to the east. Mike, maybe we can go to Futurecast. I just want to show you. Listen, if you're not under a tornado warning and you're watching and you're like, okay, well, I don't got much to worry about. The concern here is kind of the evolution of the afternoon, and we're going to have wave after wave of these strong thunderstorms. There we are at 4:30. This is in a couple hours. This is 3 hours from now. Look at that, pinwheeling through another round of showers and thunderstorms, perhaps a third round by 7, 8 o'clock. Any of these storms could become tornadic. So please, I know if you're thinking, hey, I'm not in Charles County, I don't have to worry about this tornado warning. That doesn't mean you can let your guard down for later this afternoon or for this evening. Here in Washington, we've seen a lot of rain. It won't take a lot to cause additional flash flooding. Mike mentioned that the rivers are really starting to have problems up near Hagerstown and out in the mountains. We've had widespread reports of flooded roadways up there and impassable conditions across western Maryland, out towards Frostburg and Cumberland in the past couple hours. Those conditions will continue to deteriorate. Still raining very heavily up there. And then let me mention the areas that got slammed last night with the thunderstorm activity. Mike mentioned it. You're seeing rain again. Parts of northern Montgomery County, Fairfax, your rain totals overnight in some cases exceeded 3.5 inches of rain. You're now seeing it rain on top of that. And we're expecting additional flash flooding here. So yes, we are on air here to talk about a tornado warning, but big picture, there are literally hundreds of thousands of us that are going to be needing to really watch the weather here over the next couple hours, as things are going to remain very dangerous here near term with some extremely heavy rain, potentially additional tornadic thunderstorms, and additional flooding that will likely occur with an area that just doesn't need any more rain. All right, back to the tornado warnings. Again, we've been following the same. I'm looking, or I've been listening for any verification of any of this actually on the ground. Don't have that as of yet. But we are under a tornado warning here in Charles and St. Mary's County until 2 o'clock. That's the bigger block you see. And then the smaller box there, a tornado warning now just for Charles County, really Prince George's County. That storm is raced out of Charles County up into Prince George's County. It'll be, listen guys, Anne Arundel County shortly, to be honest with you. So if you're up near Deal and Parole and Annapolis, shady side there, you can see you're going to want to monitor the progress of that storm carefully, as that may they may extend that tornado warning up into parts of Anne Arundel County here shortly. There you go. You can see the expected track there takes it up towards Annapolis by 2:17. So that storm again, and all of these storms are racing off to the north and east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. I also want to mention here, we are now seeing heavy rain in downtown Washington. And the flooding concerns are extreme around here later this afternoon. So that will be an additional problem. We're going to likely see more urban flooding, more street flooding, more flooding out on the roadways. Please take the rain seriously here. If you live near a river or a creek that has a propensity to flood when we get heavy rain, you are likely to see some of that over the next couple of hours. Caitlin?
Yeah, especially if you're in a neighborhood, too, that's prone to seeing a lot of street flooding. We know so many spots in that are trouble spots, are notorious ones, right? Alexandria, Georgetown, Annapolis, a lot of places in Montgomery County. When you get up towards Rock Creek Park, in and out of the district, you've got a lot of creeks and streams. And remember how saturated we are and continue to be as, wow, live look at the White House right now. This is downtown D.C., and while you are not under a severe thunderstorm warning or any type of warning, it's pouring. And so the skies have opened up. The heavy rain is district-wide, as well as pretty much all inside the Beltway and outside the Beltway. It is pouring on top of places like Rockville that just got hit so hard last night. So the tornado warning remains for Prince George's and Charles and St. Mary's County. That's why we're on the air. But that live shot tells you everything that you need to know if you're looking downtown, because it's pouring. By the way, Tucker and Mike were talking about this all morning. Round one of several rounds of rain. I do want to really emphasize it's pouring downtown right now. In 30 minutes, if it stops, we are not out of the woods. We are looking at a band of heavy rain moving up from central Virginia right now. This looks less like it's rotating at the moment, but no matter what, it's bringing heavy rain. This is kind of pushing from the Culpeper area into Fauquier County and eventually into Prince William County, and eventually it'll be inside the Beltway. So you're just going to get one wave after another of the heavy rain here. Okay, so that's the rain, that's the flooding threat. By the way, we don't want to ignore everyone out in the panhandles. We do know that it has been raining all night long in through this morning for communities way back out in western Maryland. I mean, Hagerstown, Cumberland, Frostburg, you guys don't really have the severe concern that the rest of us to the south and east do, but the flooding will continue. It only gets worse the more that it rains, right? And even after it rains, those waters can still rise. Okay, guys?
Caitlin, we'll go ahead and talk about that risk, because we do want to quickly mention the flash flood watch. It's in effect until 2 o'clock in the morning in most of our area.
Yep.
And we're going to go ahead and take you through a couple of the warnings here. Again, we remind you that tornado warning cell that we've taken you through down in Charles and extreme northern portions of St. Mary's County in effect until 2. That one in Prince George's is not so far. It's 1 minute away from expiring, and it does seem like, according to the National Weather Service, that they're probably going to let that one go in Prince George's County and expire here in just about 1 minute. So our focus will kind of stay down in Charles County for the time being. As far as other warnings, we've been mentioning all morning how concerned we are with flooding, and we do have a lot of flood warnings across the area. We're going to take you through a few of those real quick and just kind of show you that they have gone ahead and issued an aerial flood warning, it looks like, for northern portions of D.C. here. And
that's like brand new, right? That's, yeah, this is brand new. So this is Northwest D.C. Here in Washington, and that includes the potential here that the creeks and rivers here in Washington are doing their thing. Please, the areas that right along the Potomac there, the roadways where you typically encounter that water, take it seriously here. It's raining very hard right now in Washington, and this is brand new. We have a brand new flood warning until 2:30. In addition, viewers off to the north and west, Frederick County there, Washington County in particular, out near our friends in Martinsburg and Charlestown, you guys are now under a flood warning as well. We've been mentioning that we're getting widespread reports of flooded roadways, of rivers and creeks out here that can no longer hold the water and are starting to flood their banks, and the flooding will continue to worsen out here. What happens with the water? It has nowhere to go, so it finds its way out, and of course, it does so in a way that unfortunately will only increase the flooding near term. There's a 24-hour rain total. Hagerstown, you're now up over, this is unofficial, but 3.3 inches, and much of that has fallen in the last couple hours. So flooding is going to continue to be a big story, particularly in these communities off to the north and west, where, yeah, thank you. I've had a few tweets out here. It has really been raining very hard. Thank you. We had some viewers out in Jefferson County. Let me know that they're dealing with flooding issues. And unfortunately here, the storm tracker radar has just lit up in the past hour or so. Much of the area dealing with heavy rain. Inside the Beltway, we're dealing with flooding conditions. Again, we have a flood warning for Northwest D.C. In addition, we're seeing some very heavy rain now get into Prince George's County. And I would expect that we're going to see additional flood warnings get issued here shortly. Don't forget, we just don't need any of the rain. We've been so saturated with the heavy rains the last couple weeks that we're going to continue to have additional flooding concerns. And I'll be honest with you, in some cases here, I'm more concerned about flooding near term than I am with these tornadoes. And although we do have tornado warnings, the flooding will really impact a lot of us here over the next couple of hours.
And
Yeah,
I will say on this velocity tracker, guys, by the way, we are not warned right now in King George County, but as I look at velocity, there's clearly another signature in eastern portions of King George County where you guys were just hit not that long ago by that potential one that's now up in Charles County. So we're keeping an eye on the situation here. As more warnings go up, we'll let you know. We are down right now to just one warning out there, and that is this one that extends. And they may have, I'll double check it, but they may have just issued that Westmoreland. So I think they just added Westmoreland to it for about 15 minutes from that storm, because that was not included before, but they did. They just added Westmoreland to this tornado warning for another 12 minutes here until 2 o'clock this afternoon, as this line of storms has a history of storms that have had a history of rotation. And again, if we look at what we call the velocity tracker, and I know you won't be too sure what you're looking at if you're you're not weather savvy, but it allows us to pinpoint exactly where the tornado could be if it's on the ground. So in Charles County, about to cross near Allen's Fresh, Wimcoca, I'm going to ruin that one. Yeah, there we go. It's just about to cross 234 there, just off to the east of Allen's Fresh and just north of Shiloh there. And then down to the south across portions of Westmoreland County. This one's near Colonial Beach again. And it's starting to, again, kind of get blown out on its eastern flank a little bit, which could be good. But this is about to cross 205.
And that's a relatively new cell, is it not?
Yeah. Now we have it kind of redeveloped on the southern side of it. So we have two separate cells. And that's why they added, originally they had taken it away out of this warning, but they went ahead and added Westmoreland back into it. But the main cell here does remain in Charles and northern portions of St. Mary's County until 2 o'clock. And that is kind of the last warning we have, is this one in Westmoreland and this one in Charles and St. Mary's. And both of those are set to expire in just about 10 minutes, guys.
Okay, and we, have not had any reports of anything, but we may not get that because as you take a live look at Frederick, it's pouring down rain pretty much everywhere. So as is the case a lot of the times in tropical systems, the rotation kind of gets wrapped up in the rain, and a lot of the times it'll pulse. That's why you're getting these issuing and reissuing in the same spot. So we're watching those twin pockets of rotation. Otherwise, everyone else is dealing with rain. Tucker was just going over all the flood warnings. Don't have any flash flood warnings, am I correct? So
do not at this time.
Western Maryland, extreme Western Maryland.
We do have a flash flood warning all the way out in Western Maryland. Yeah, I think we've had that one for a while.
So those are the flash flood warnings that we have, are the ones way up to the north there across the Pennsylvania border. Everything locally right now at this time is just a standard flood warning. That doesn't mean it's any less dangerous. We saw Bob Barnard all morning tracking folks who were covered in, their cars were covered in water because they tried to cross streets. You never know how deep that water can be. So any of these zones, whether you're under a flood warning or not, you come across anything flooded, especially as we get closer and closer to the evening commute time when more and more folks are going to be hitting the roads. Again, we know it's redundant and we know it's a phrase that probably makes you roll your eyes, but turn around, don't drown. That's what we always say.
It's just easy. I mean, it just makes sense. And it's the best advice, Mike, especially you were up for that flooding and very loud thunderstorm last night. When it's dark, you cannot see anything. Yes, you have the light of the day to help you out right now, but as we do get later into tonight, and by the way, long after the rain's gone, floodwaters can continue to rise. This is when we don't want you to head outside. So truly, turn around, don't drown, and don't even really go out there if you don't have to. If you're looking for an excuse, I'm giving you one right now. Cancel your plans between the tornado threat that we have ongoing and between the flooding and flash flooding. So it is an aerial flood warning for D.C., meaning creeks, streams, they'll easily rise out of their beds and out of their banks, and then roadways, you can get a lot of street flooding, tidal flooding, all those sorts of things. There's a look at that warning right now. Again, this is for a good chunk of D.C. It's an aerial flood warning until 2:30. Most of the Rock Creek Park area all the way up to the border. So not flash flooding. There is a big difference. Flash flooding is when water is rising and it's happening now or happening imminently, and it's absolutely a danger to head outside into. You don't really want to head outside into an aerial flood warning, but
look at some of these rain rates.
To a lesser degree. Absolutely. So these are rain rates, which is basically per hour the amount of rain that's coming down. And when you start to see them as high as this, 3.4. So this is just kind of south and west of D.C. Into the Arlington-Roslyn area. That's when you know you're just getting dumped on. So a total deluge under some of these cells. And that's in the district where we're not seeing anything rotate yet, but we're really still concerned about the flooding. And by the way, it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or just about. We do expect another storm after another storm to kind of wave through the rest of the evening. So we continue to stay on the air right now because we're following through with that tornado-warned storm in southern Maryland. Right now, Mike's putting a track on this band of heavy rain. So this is in central Virginia right here, just north and east of the Warrenton area and then down through Hartwood, Virginia. This is not necessarily rotating, so maybe less concerned about a tornado warning, although that can happen at any moment. But it looks like it's got some really hefty rainfall amounts in it. And it is lifting to the north and east. So kind of east on 66, north on 95, and anyone in between, you are in the path of this dangerous line of heavy rain. Not seeing any lightning. And by the way, we haven't seen much so far today. Not your classic thunderstorm that's really loud and bright, but we've seen pockets of rotation numerous times throughout today. So that's the next round that's going to be heading into D.C. It's so heavy over Washington and inside the Beltway right now. That's kicking out. That's going up 95 towards Baltimore. But right on its heels, after a brief lull, we'll have another round of that heavy rain. And guys, that might actually really cause some flooding problems, that second round that comes through. We already have flooding problems, but it'll exacerbate the situation.
Hard to believe just an hour or two ago this radar was quiet, because it has really come to life, unfortunately, in the past hour or two. All of these rain rates will continue to, unfortunately, exacerbate the issues we have with flooding around here. And again, really want to emphasize, although we are on the air for tornado warning, I think the threat for many of us is going to be this flooding over the next several hours. This is all, of course, the remnants of Ida. And let's get back down into the reason we're here, and that is a tornado warning, which continues. We're down to one tornado warning right along the Potomac there. And remind me, it's part of King George County and now Charles County.
Westmoreland County.
Excuse me, Westmoreland County there, yeah. Westmoreland County and Charles County until 2 o'clock. Radar indicated cell there with possible rotation. So we don't have any confirmation that there's been a tornado on the ground, but my friends here will show you on the velocity map that there are indications of not one but two possible areas of circulation.
Right, and I will say that the good news on this is I am seeing weakening of the storms. It's starting to lose the sharpness a little bit. Still rotating, but rotating a little weaker. That doesn't mean let your guard down. These storms are warned for about 5 more minutes, and they're the last tornado warnings we have here at this hour. But as Tucker and Caitlin have been mentioning, at any time we could really start to kick up more. You see this cell or this storm system continues to grab more moisture from the south and anywhere in this eastern sector. We've been telling you about this tornado watch. There it is. Tornado watch for just about the entirety of the I-95 Southern Maryland eastern zones until 7 o'clock tonight. And any storms that fire within these counties that you see shaded in this orange coloring, and it does include D.C., it does include Baltimore, and again, all the counties pretty much along I-95 and areas east of there. The environment is such that storms that fire can quickly kind of develop and quickly develop a little bit of rotation. And in systems like these, where you have what we call very low cloud tops, it doesn't take a whole lot of rotation to get a brief touchdown of some of these tornadoes. So again, reason we're cutting in for you, it's kind of one complex of systems with 2 separate tornado warnings to it, both of which are set to expire here in 5 minutes should nothing more occur with them, but includes Charles and St. Mary's County here until 2 o'clock. And then for our friends just across the Potomac River there, parts of Westmoreland County, including, and we know we have a lot of viewers in Colonial Beach, and with this warning here, the one in Westmoreland County does include you, as the system overhead does have some rotation to it. But again, if there's any good news here, it is that just looking at what we call the velocity, which is how us weather folks are able to kind of get an idea of what the winds inside of a thunderstorm are doing and help you pinpoint where this tornado would be. For example, I can tell you between Route 234 and Route 6 here in Charles County is right where, just north of Allen's Fresh, is right where that spin up would be if it happens to be on the ground. Again, it does appear to be weakening. According to the National Weather Service, they just expired the warning for Charles and St. Mary, so that polygon here should start to disappear. But guess what?
Oh boy, there we go.
We got another one. So this warning just popped up on us, so here you go. Anne Arundel and Prince George's County, new warning for you, just when you thought you could get rid of us, until 2:30 p.m. Hello, Sue Pelka.
Mike, how the heck are you still? You must have a battery inside you. You've been going strong since 1 in the morning?
18 and a half cups of coffee.
He's finally got his tornado warnings, too.
Wow.
He's been waiting for them all night,
It's
so
pretty-
now he's got them.
Pretty
All right,
rare
guys.
that we have Tucker and Mike here through the early afternoon, and I know you guys have had a long day, but this is a bit of a relentless system.
It is, and it's really a two-parter. I mean, off to the north and west, the flooding is unfortunately going to be a big story here, and we don't want to dismiss that, but the tornado warnings of immediate concern. And again, we're now looking at a brand new tornado warning for, I think it was just Anne Arundel County. Perhaps you can back it up a little bit, Mike. Why don't you show the tornado warning again? There you go.
If there's any part of Prince, it says Prince George's, but it's kind of an extreme sliver there. It's mostly in Arundel County.
Right, and it's just south of Annapolis there.
But it
or
does
up
include
towards Annapolis,
Annapolis.
excuse me, includes Annapolis under a tornado warning now until 2:30. So this is really, to be honest with you, an extension of the same warned area. We're just kind of watching, we're kind of racing with these storms north and east, following a line of very strong activity. With the possibility of tornadic cells here. And they've just expanded this tornado warning to include, for the most part, Anne Arundel County until 2:30. So again, if it's a warned storm and you're in that warned area, please take it seriously. We have no confirmation any of this has touched the ground, but they're often rain wrapped and you won't be able to see the tornado. So get to a basement or a low-lying spot or a safe spot in your place of residence and just kind of, wait these ones out. Things should start to improve late this afternoon and tonight, but we are by no means done with the threat of severe weather here, as this storm will again be racing off. This is a part of the world I'm familiar with, but Shady Side at 207, Parole, that's just to the south there of Annapolis at 220, Annapolis 221, and then up towards Edgemere at 251 as it races up towards Baltimore and northern Anne Arundel County. But again, we are looking at a brand new tornado warning east of D.C. now. This is Anne Arundel County in effect until 2:30 this afternoon. Mike, did they let the previous tornado warning go to the south and west? No, they did not.
Not quite yet. We have 1 minute remaining in that warning, so we'll see if they don't let it go. It does not appear to have been expanded. So this is set to expire at 2 o'clock. If we check out velocity, that rotation has really kind of broadened us, so I do suspect that they will let that one go. However, this cell in Annapolis is a good example because this is the storm that in Prince George's County had weakened enough that they canceled the warning, and then it quickly redeveloped, and we're seeing that rotation there on velocity. And again, it's right where that red and that green meet. That's where we're getting. So right over Greenock right there, just about to cross Route 2, just off to the east of Bay Area, across Route 422. That would be where the tornado would be if it was on the ground. Again, no confirmation that it's on the ground yet. All of these are what we call radar indicated, but West River, it's imminent for you. You want to make sure you're taking shelter there. Marriott Hill, you're on the doorstep of this guy as well. And it continues. It's racing at about 35 miles per hour off to the north there. And as Tucker mentioned, there is heavy rain all around this system. So it is not something that you would look out your window and see coming at you. So again, we do advise caution. Get to the center of your house, get to the lowest level at your house, get away from windows and doors, and just take the situation very seriously.
It seems like the rotation in any of these individual cells, just eyeballing it, has lasted about 15 minutes or so, and then it pulses down and comes right back up. We started seeing that last night, too, when we had numerous tornado warnings in the overnight hours. Mike, I know you were tracking it. We were keeping the vigil, and I just checked the Storm Prediction Center. So far, we have not had any confirmation or reports of any touchdowns, but that's not to say that this couldn't be the first one. So we take every single one of these seriously, and that's why we're on the air here, to make sure that you are safe and not sorry. Buses were out, by the way, because the schools have dismissed early, and there was a lot of traffic coming on in, and the rain again starting to come down across the district. So if you don't have to travel in the next few hours, please don't bog down buses and others trying to get kids home today.
We've had some pretty dramatic camera shots of the heavy rain in the district. I suspect it's just starting to lift northeastward, but we did have some dramatic views of the White House, the Arlington area where it's just been pouring, so that just adds to the flood threat. Yes, the tornado warnings have been coming and going as the rotation continues to pulse, and mostly just to the south and east of the D.C. area. There's Frederick, and Frederick remains under that heavy, steady rain that's been going on since last night. They are on kind of the northwestern side of Ida's remnants, and we have talked about all day. There's like two sides to what's been happening with the more stable rainfall that's continual and prompting flood warnings far to our north and west. That includes Frederick. They are under a batch of very heavy rain, and it's not going to be ending anytime soon because the momentum of this continues to lift from southwest to northeast, and I see heavy rain downwind of Frederick. You've got it in pockets in other places, northeastern Montgomery County, Howard County, northern Prince George's County. We just had a batch of really heavy rain move through the metro. And then you've got more pockets down to the south. So definitely watching what's into Fauquier and Prince William County here. That's a band of heavy rain that so far hasn't been rotating, but that's going to lift northeastward. And then, of course, we continue to watch this tornado warning. Mike, I think that was some of the healthier rotation that we've seen on this storm, kind of on the southern part of the warning near low Midlothian. This is for Anne Arundel and Prince George's County, that tornado warning. It goes until 2:30. Like every single warning, it's radar indicated, but it is racing very quickly to the north and east. So Tracy's Landing, London Town, of course, Annapolis. We're very familiar with Annapolis, Lakeshore and Edgemoor. These are all communities in the path of the storm in eastern Anne Arundel County. You start to get into Annapolis. Sue brought up a good point. You start to get into dismissal time for schools. If they weren't let out early, they are going to be let out pretty shortly as it's 2 in the afternoon. And you've got these dangerous storms. So this one for sure, and the one that we're staying on the air that's lifting through Anne Arundel County and at least according to radar is rotating.
The tornado watch still goes until 7 o'clock tonight. Mike, have you been checking the futurecast? And do we still look like we're watching the worst of this maybe dissipating after about 7 o'clock?
After about 7 o'clock. And again, the tornado threat will wind down once the center of circulation, which is up near Hagerstown right now, once that gets east of D.C., things will start to improve rapidly in terms of the tornadic activity here in Washington. But on the backside, we're still likely to get some rain into the evening hours tonight. But things should improve vastly as we head towards 10, 11 o'clock tonight, and we'll start to see this system moves out. But as far as the tornado threat go, I would say until about 6:30. I think they did a good job with the watch, right up until about 7 o'clock tonight, and then that line should come through, and we'll be out of here.
I have to say, hats off to these amazing algorithmic models that we use, because they have really called this. The Storm Prediction Center gave us plenty of notice that we were going to be getting more activity as we continue to see these cells develop. They predicted really spot on the overnight activity between 2 and 4 for D.C., and we expected this activity to be very, very keeping us hopping between now and about 7 o'clock. So exactly what we are seeing. I like seeing the drying out that we're watching down south of Charlottesville. I hope that trend will continue. As Mike said, the center of what was Ida is up by the Hagerstown area. So we have to get a few more of these narrow bands through. And then maybe we can just take a breath and calm down later tonight when this transitions to more just leftover showers and storms.
All right, Sue, I've been here quite a long time, and Mike's been here quite a long time, so we're going to bow out and let you guys take over.
Wait,
you guys
what?
got this shortly.
No.
This event will continue to unfold here.
I don't know if we've ever met.
Hi, Mike. Good to meet you. I've seen you on social media. Very good.
I'm a big fan.
Thank you. I think the entire weather team is here today. Jen is in the back. Gwen is. I haven't seen Tucker in
I know,
years.
in years.
Yeah,
I thought we were the same person.
It's wonderful to see you not under these circumstances. It's rare that we overlap like this,
Yes,
where
it is.
you've had to deal with this all morning long.
And it's a shame when we overlap due to severe weather.
Yes.
But we do want folks in Anne Arundel County specifically right now. That's where
Yes.
the worst of the storms are for now. But you guys could be busy right on until the evening hours tonight.
We expected that, and we're looking forward to Thursday. This is it's been a month, and September is starting out the way August left, but this is so typical of what happens when remnants come through. Mike, I'm sure you can remember. No, Tucker, I know you remember.
Sure, Ivan, that's what you're going to say, right?
And I was going to actually go back to even some of the earlier ones. Ivan, Irene, and Isabel. Remember Isabel's
Sure
remnants?
do remember Isabel, yeah.
Isabel went south and west of us, so we
Yep.
got into some of the stronger winds with that.
I sure do. In fact, I had a tree on my house on Isabel
no.
back in 2003. So again, we've been on for a better part of an hour here because we've got not one but multiple tornado warnings. And just setting the stage here as we hand it off, flooding, a major issue early this morning. If you watched the show early this morning, unfortunately, we had terrible flooding in Montgomery County. And now we're dealing with tornado warnings. And we've got a new one that's sort of been expanded from Charles County now to Anne Arundel County for the most part. It really doesn't include much of Prince George's County until 2:30. So we will put it in your capable hands.
Thank you.
And let's all hope we get
Stepping
through
in.
this, quietly, and look forward to some sunshine soon.
May the handoff begin. I'm going to miss you guys, but thank you for what you did to keep everybody safe. And Caitlin and I and Jen are here, and we'll take over with this tornado warning. And by the way, the drill is if we have a tornado warning, we stay on the air until it is over. And this has kept us on the air for over an hour. And if this does not expire at 2:30, or if it moves farther north, we will continue to track it, because the bottom line is we just want to get you out of the way of all of this. So again, Caitlin, if you don't mind putting a tracker on this sure is flying along. Is it about northeast at 35, would you say?
Yes, it is. And you know what? As I do that, Sue, let's go to a live look of Route 50 out towards Annapolis. We do have a live picture where you're going to see that it's pouring rain, and it's really coming down. So it's once again one of those storms that embedded within all of that rain is problematic, because if there is any rotation within the storm, and this is moving so fast, it's nearly in downtown Annapolis, that's where it's going to be. see. So here's the communities that I've kind of veered all the way across the Chesapeake towards. But if they hold together and continue to pulse and rotate, they'd be in the path of this storm.
That's a lot of traffic on Route 50, by the way. I guess they didn't heed the warning to postpone travel if you could. But again, it's a bit of a constellation of a lot of things. Early dismissal, people who work today maybe trying to get out earlier, and unfortunately all of this activity preceding the typical rush hour here. So it's a lot of people that are on the road right now. If you don't have to be on the road, please avoid it. Again, in Annapolis, we're watching in Anne Arundel, a small portion of Prince George's County, our newest tornado warning until 2:30. Very fast movement, so you're not in these warnings for more than, say, a half hour or so before they get dropped. But the storms tend to pulse, rotate, collapse a little bit and come right back up. We've seen that. And we're looking for that center of circulation right around in this area here if there is rotation. North of, right around there, Caitlin is circling it so you can see. Maybe we can get in a little tighter, Caitlin, see what some of the communities are that may have to be seeking shelter right now if we have some circulation. Marriott Hill to Mill Swamp. So Maryland Route 2 on the west side of this circulation, and Maryland 468 on the right with 255 down below. This is where the radar is indicating rotation, and that's what we're going on right now. Just to recap, we have not had any confirmations of anything touching down, but it might be hard to see some of this too. These get called into the National Weather Service. Sometimes somebody spots it or the damage is consistent, but we could also be getting some gusty winds inside some of these thunderstorms as well. So it's going to be hard to know today what's going on. And bottom line, safe, not sorry. Seek shelter in that area of Anne Arundel County. This tornado warning goes until 2:30. Down to the south, we still have pockets of heavy rain coming on up. Hartwood, just north of you, boy, always a tough ride on 95. And you've got pockets of heavy rain skewing along 95, about to cross. Heavy rain coming up through Charles County, where we just ended a tornado warning a little while ago. So again, postpone travel if you can. Let Ida do her thing, the center of the circulation up around Hagerstown. In the next few hours, we should see the worst of this coming to an end. There's a look at all the warnings. There's Annapolis and Anne Arundel County for a storm. Center of circulation moving northeast very quickly. So Caitlin mentioned a minute ago, downtown Annapolis. Do we have our Annapolis camera, by the way? If we could cue that up, we can see in the city, maybe around the dock area as well. This is radar indicated, a very small section of Prince George's County in that tornado warning. It's mostly Anne Arundel County. And that is what we are watching this afternoon and evening. There's the heavy rain with it. So even just the rain alone with this would make that a very tough trip through Anne Arundel County this afternoon.
The rain is a problem. And I do want to just mention, too, Sue, the aerial flood warning in D.C., which is, of course, not a flash flood warning, a little confusion sometimes, but it is still a flood warning. And it does seem that's just been extended now until 6:30 p.m. So that warning says 2:30 p.m. I'll clear that. And so this is just added concern for being out on the roads today, right?
And you know what else, Caitlin? Even though we know tomorrow's weather is going to be much better, there has been so much heavy rain overnight and through the day that we are going to see places like Rock Creek Park filling up very quickly in northwest Washington. We're going to see streams and creeks at or out of their bank fill through tomorrow, even when the sun comes out. So we need to be really careful. Saw a lot of pictures of flooded roads in Fairfax County early this morning, and that water is going to be slow to recede because we keep dumping more and more into what is like a saturated sponge now, and any additional rain just comes right out. So it's going to be a while before we can really settle things down. Even though the worst of the weather is this evening, we should see a general tapering off through the evening hours into overnight hours. The sun will be back tomorrow. A very good breeze coming in behind the remnants of Ida to start the drying process, and a completely different weather pattern should set up. But just because the rain ends later tonight and during the overnight hours doesn't mean that we are not going to see additional aerial flooding, which is what Caitlin just showed. That is runoff flooding, essentially. And this area has had a lot of that through the month of August, and now September starting the same way.
Yep, so we've got our flash flood watch until 2 a.m. We've already seen a lot of flash flood warnings up in Pennsylvania, extreme western Maryland. You've got your tornado watch until 7 p.m., and we do still have our tornado warning. Again, this is for Anne Arundel County, and so this is all because of the remnants of Ida. There it is, big picture. Tornado watches from southeastern Virginia now up into New Jersey, and the heaviest axis of rain continues to be northern Maryland up through Pennsylvania. We've got good heavy rain in Frederick. It looks like we can take a live picture of, Sue. So you see,
wow. Yeah.
Frederick, an area that, they don't really have the tornado concern so much as it's just constant rain. Oh, and by the way, just coming through on the chat right now, we do have a report of a tornado from Charles County, Maryland. This was, am I pronouncing this right? Wicomico?
Yep, Wicomico.
Yeah, Wicomico. Okay, so that was no damage yet, but that was, I guess, at least seen by law enforcement near Allen Fresh. And that was a little bit earlier. That was at 1:50 p.m. It's now 2:12 p.m. But that's our first report of anything that we've seen today. So,
all the more important to take this Anne Arundel warning seriously, because sometimes the reports lag. Looks like we have a new tornado warning north of Baltimore as well. That is, I know that they can't always see us up in Baltimore, but just heads up for commuters going in that direction. You have a new tornado warning until 2:45. That is a separate system. You can see where so many of these cells are able to rotate. This is so typical of what we see with the remnants of a tropical system going on by. They have a lot of spin in them. Doesn't always last very long. They're not the biggest tornadoes typically, but they do damage, and it's scary if you're out there. So in these two areas, we remind you it's important that you seek shelter, be indoors to, at the very least, get to the lowest level of your home or an interior room if possible until this threat is over. So yeah, we're still pretty busy tracking these today, Caitlin.
we are, and this latest warning for a tornado in Baltimore, I know this is just north of us, our area, but close enough. The worst of the storm is right over Cockeysville, so if there is rotation, this is where it would be. You can kind of see the radar signature showing a bit of a hook at the base.
Yep,
and
see that right
just
here.
north of the Baltimore Beltway there. Yeah, that is exactly the area that prompted the warning, and that's where, if there is a tornado, it would be somewhere in this area just south of Cockeysville along Route 45. Again, this is up by Baltimore, but so many places, that's very close to us. You may have some interest up by Baltimore and know someone up there, so tell them if they're in Baltimore County to seek shelter immediately.
Yeah, that's an impressive looking cell up there. So that warning goes until, did I see 2:45, Caitlin, up in
Yeah,
Baltimore?
that one's until 2:45. We continue to follow this Annapolis warning, which, by the way, concerning because now that we've had a tornado report from this cell earlier over Charles County, this can happen at any moment. So
and that is probably the same cell, right? Still pulsing its way
I believe
northeast?
it is, yeah. So that was 20 minutes ago that there was a report. And if I zoom out, you can kind of see that it moved up from northern sections of Charles. There it is.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was the one. If it wasn't that, it was one right behind it. But we've had this trailing line of tornado-warned storms, really from Colonial Beach up through Charles County, Prince George's County, and now Anne Arundel County.
I have to say, really impressive how the models handled this yesterday, Caitlin. I hope everyone was aware that this was a concern going through our Wednesday, and really just amazing what these models are able to pinpoint, including the activity last night and what we're seeing today. And now Caitlin is showing us what we call our velocity. And when we see these reds and greens coming together, it is an indication of winds in different directions at the radar site. And often that indicates to us that a storm is rotating or spinning. And that's why you see these tornado warnings triggered. When that velocity shows up, we know we could have rotation. And does the rotation hit the ground? That's why you have a tornado warning, because the possibility is there.
We have a live picture from I-50 at 97, so this is almost right where the tornado warning is. So, I mean, this is bisecting I-97 right now. It's moving off to the north and east.
Taking a close look. Oh,
picture
wow.
will kind of show you where that area is.
And
now,
look at the sun,
rain.
Caitlin.
Oh,
Is
you can
that
see it.
sunshine in there? Or just heavy? No, that's a crosswalk maybe? Oh, that's a bridge. A bridge over 50. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, this is, I'm getting a closer look now. And wow, the rain is pouring. As you watch the trucks and cars going by on the right-hand side, you can see the ponding of water on the roadway. So, we talk about these tornado warnings. Super important that you know about that. But there is so much water on these grounds. And, the Jersey walls help to retain it. We know the ground is saturated from 9+ inches of rain across our area last month. All of this water, really water has been a big part of the story. The flash flooding we saw last night, the terrible situation in Rockville that we heard about early this morning from overnight storms. And now while we have this rotation, we do not want to downplay the huge amount of water that is being produced by Ida, which is always the most underrated, unfortunately, devastating impact of these tropical systems.
Okay, we now have an observed tornado coming through over London town. I am zoomed in on the area, so for everyone listening in the booth, we are now, we have been bumped up from radar indicated to an observed tornado in London town, Maryland. This is in Anne Arundel County. I am circling the community here on Storm Tracker Velocity. So this has been under the tornado warning. It has now been observed at 2:14. Not sure who observed it or precisely where, but in that community, which is where you have Route 468 bisecting Route 2, enough of a clearing, it seems, and I'll put on radar to indicate that, yep, that's where a tornado was observed. So that means there's a tornado on the ground, or potentially still on the ground. This warning, or this storm, excuse me, is moving to the north and east, and it is moving fast at 35 miles an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it. We're going to put a tracker on this from about the London town area to the north and east. So this is just west of Annapolis, really just southwest. Edgewater, Riva, these are the communities it's over. Yeah, southwest side up through Parole, Arnold, Cape St. Clair. You are all in the path of this storm, and this has now been observed. So please, if you live in this area, if you are in one of these communities, take shelter. There is a tornado that's been observed on the ground in Anne Arundel County.
And if you're watching us and you know somebody who lives in Annapolis, do them a favor, give them a quick call, quick text, and say there is an observed tornado in your area in the Annapolis region. It's time to go down to the basement, get to an interior room right now.
Yep, and again, the worst of the storm, I believe, is right over Edgewater and Riva. These are, starting to get into pretty more populated communities right outside of Annapolis. Parole, same thing, or business districts before you get into the more downtown area of Annapolis, right off of Route 50, So a highly populated area, actually, and places in the path: Arnold, Cape St. Clair, Severna Park, also pretty populated. So again, that warning will remain active.
We've got a camera up to Caitlin, MDOT west of Annapolis, Maryland 665 west. You can see, it's obviously very wet, but it just looks, the sky has that look to it, doesn't it? There is a lot of spin in the atmosphere here. We know that a tornado has been observed in this area. Again, that's coming into that report into the National Weather Service. We're not sure who reported it, but I don't think they would put that out lightly. And if you have seen this, if you've got a picture, send it to us, but do not risk your safety. We want you to get to those lowest levels and shelter in that area. Again, this is just coming in. Great job grabbing these cameras, control room west of Annapolis. It's amazing to have this ability to see what's going on in these areas, as well as to tell you what we're seeing and show you with the various tools we have available to us. Unbelievable. So Caitlin's showing us this is going to be at Parole at 2:21, to Weems Creek about 2:23, Winchester on the Severn around 2:25, to Arnold at 2:26, and Shore Acres at 2:30. So moving very quickly northeast at 35 miles an hour. We had a separate warned storm in northern Baltimore County, but this one is the first one that, second one now. You said that we had a report down in Charles County too, Caitlin, of something that touched down that was seen.
Yes, there was a report near Wicomico back at 1:50, so about a half hour ago. Law enforcement saw a brief touchdown near Allen's Fresh, moving towards Dentsville. Of course, this, I believe, is the same cell that has now produced an additional touchdown near London town in Anne Arundel County. Again, that's just southwest of Annapolis. The heavy rotation continues to show up on our velocity tracker anywhere between Edgewater and Parole. So if there is a tornado, that's where it is. And I put the tracker on to show you where it's headed. It's moving very fast to the northeast at 25 miles an hour. In fact, it's probably time for a new tracker. But anyone who's in the path of this storm, please take shelter. It's not really showing any signs of weakening. So now you're talking about going from the Annapolis area deeper north through Anne Arundel County up into kind of the Baltimore area. Some more communities in the path of this storm beyond Arnold: Shore Acres, Lake Shore, Venice on the Bay, and Edgemoor. So you're going through into more northern sections of Anne Arundel County there, getting up east of Baltimore.
This is the same storm that likely was over Charles County a little while ago, where we did have a sighting. It doesn't pulse the whole time. It doesn't rotate the whole time, but then they can spin up again very quickly. Caitlin, while we continue to monitor this threat until 2:30 for Anne Arundel County, County. Do we have a lot going on south of this area still? I wonder if we want to pull back and just try to give people a sense of when this is all going to be over, because it does look like these yellow bands, you see the bright colors, that's where we're concerned with these thunderstorms that have rotation inside them. But then you get down to hard-hit Charlottesville. They were on the air told probably 3, 4 in the morning, tracking thunderstorms down in that area last night, coming out of the southwestern portions of Virginia. Looks like it's settling down at least a little bit down there.
Yeah, I do believe that they're kind of at least in a lull, if not taking a decent break from everything right now, because the momentum has been more to the north now, and you can see where all that really heavy, steady rain is pushing into Pennsylvania. So it has kind of been two different setups today, with the heavy, steady rain to the far north and west there, Sue, and that's where they're having a ton of flooding and flash flooding issues up into Pennsylvania, and then the bands that are producing the rotation over us. But you look to the south and west, and you don't see much.
There are not as many bands beyond the tornado watch box. So that's in effect until 7 o'clock. What is left of the circulation of Ida, which is still pounding our area, obviously, is about to cross the Mason-Dixon line, and the heaviest rain out to the north of it. But the most dangerous bands with the rotation inside them still moving through our area. That tornado watch is up until 7 o'clock. A warning for Anne Arundel County, where a tornado has been sighted, until 2:45. So I guess we get back down on that one. There it is, Caitlin. Did they shave it down just a little bit? Looks like it might.
Looks like just slightly. You know what, I'm going to go switch back to Storm Tracker radar. It's still a very small section of Anne Arundel County, including Annapolis. It is moving very quickly off to the north and east. The warning is been continued until at least 2:30, so that's 7 more minutes as we continue to kind of track it off to the north and east. But scary, because we've had a lot of radar indicated tornadoes in this area, but when one is observed, you certainly can't argue with that, no matter what you see on radar. So that continues to push northeastward, and you're starting to get across the Chesapeake there.
So we may have a water spout here too if this continues to rotate. We'll see if anybody reports that, but we certainly know that right now the main threat in the Annapolis area, you said between Parole and Annapolis itself, I believe, Caitlin?
Yes.
And, we certainly also continue to track a storm north of Cockeysville that is showing rotation. So we have plenty to keep us occupied here, and the news doesn't even start till 4 o'clock. But again, we are on because of the threat, and when a tornado warning is issued in our area, we stay on the air until the threat is over, and this has been a busy afternoon. We remain under this watch, as mentioned, until 7 o'clock. We think the worst of this probably is going to be over around 7 as the remnants of Ida push into Pennsylvania and take the bands out of our area. But Cockeysville, Caitlin showing us some of the velocity, again, that green and red coming together. This is on the east side of Maryland 445, north of 145, and south of 138. That is the storm, the northern storm that is warned for a tornado. I can see our Frederick camera, by the way, still raining and raining hard up there. So while, Frederick, you haven't been in on these bands, they've tended to be most of Interstate 95. We've got another picture up of Annapolis, and yep, still raining heavily here. I was spying on our Frederick camera here in the studio that you didn't see on air, but this is Road Boulevard. You know how busy that is, US 50 at Maryland 70. Wow, you can still see how much water is on the road. It doesn't look like people have postponed travel. I'm not surprised. I know it's tough when it's 2:25 on a busy Wednesday and kids are getting out of school and people are trying to get home from work before the, quote, rush hour starts. Well, it started early today as people started getting the idea that we needed to get home, and perhaps a lot of people are on 50 right now. It sure looks like it.
Yeah, so no flooding or flash flooding warnings for Anne Arundel. It's still just this tornado warning that we're following for one that was observed near London Town, just south and west of Annapolis. That warning continues for the next few minutes. We'll see if the NWS will reissue, National Weather Service, that is. We also still have that one warning north of Baltimore. It's a storm that's now northwest of Cockeysville, but that's moving northward and will, shortly be racing across the Maryland border into Pennsylvania. This is our worst storm right now. It looks like over Arnold. That's where the heaviest of the rain is falling. And also, as I stop it and just check velocity, it does look like we are still seeing some rotation within the storm, although this isn't as tight as maybe I saw it when it was over London town and when it did produce a tornado. But it's still rotation nonetheless. So please, if you are watching from home, stay where you are. If you're in this area, north of Annapolis, including Arnold, up towards Cape St. Clair, you all want to be ready for this storm as it arrives. Severna Park, Lakeshore, you're not in the tornado warning, but you're close enough. Route 50 at the Severn River, it looks like we've got a picture of coming up shortly. So that'll give you an idea, too, of the heavy rain that we have overhead. So this is the warning. There's Annapolis. Just north of it is Arnold. If there's any tornado activity within the cell, it would be over Arnold right now. Zooming out a bit, if we get a picture of Route 50.
It's up. And wow, it's raining and raining hard there. Visibility's got to be very poor. And we continue to remind you with this tornado warning, and again, a confirmed sighting. Let people know, if you know anybody in this area, that they need to be off the road if possible as we let this pass. The storm is, the circulation is moving very quickly. I think the last report, Caitlin, you said northeast at about 25 miles an hour. So not going to be in any one area for very long, but we want you to be out of the way of this one. And there come some of the new warnings being issued north of Frederick. I've been spying on our Frederick camera where visibility looks to be getting pretty poor. And we know that there's some very heavy rain up there. Flash flood warning just issued for Carroll and Frederick. Again, radar indicated, but we can sure see the cameras showing some of that heavy rain as well. It looks like they expanded the tornado warned storm in Baltimore County too.
Yeah, they have expanded both the one in Baltimore and the one in Anne Arundel. So let's get a handle on the warnings out there right now. I just showed you the brand new flash flooding warning for Carroll and Frederick. So we've watched it rain heavily all day up there in Frederick. So the flash flood warning means flooding is imminent. If it's not happening already, you want to stay off the roads. You do not want to be driving. We say it's cliche, but it's true. Turn around, don't drown. That is a big concern. Flash flood warning, Carroll and Frederick counties until 5:30. Along with that, the tornado warnings have been extended for both Baltimore and Hartford until 3 p.m. and now Anne Arundel until 3 p.m. And this is our Frederick camera right now, Sue. It's just been, they've had the deluge all day.
They really have. And this is, quite honestly, Caitlin, it's just as dangerous, the flash flooding. We know somebody lost their life in the overnight flooding, and when you hear about a flash flood warning, as Caitlin said, that it means it's about to occur if it's not already occurring. We have heavy rain that may wrap the visibility around the tornado that was now observed. You see the difference between the Baltimore-Hartford tornado warning and the warning for Anne Arundel. The source says it was indicated by radar, which is that velocity we show you, with the red and the green coming together. And in Anne Arundel now, this is observed. So we know both of these are capable of producing a tornado, but the Anne Arundel warned storm definitely has, and that has been extended northward until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Very heavy rain falling in that area, as we know. So I'm quite sure that flash flood watch warnings will probably follow. Of course, the flash flood watch was up for a couple of days in advance of this activity. We knew that Ida was going to be able to do this coming through our area. And Caitlin, you've pulled up the velocity again. Where do you see? Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it looks like, and this is, this has a history of producing a tornado, this cell. So if there is still a tornado in there, it has now moved just north of Arnold, along and northeast of Route 2, north of Cape St. Clair. So Mago Vista Beach, one of the communities that's kind of under it right now. It's moving to the north and east. So Lakeshore, Pinehurst, Paradise Beach, all in the path of this storm that continues to flare with rotation. And it is moving northeastward and looks like it'll shortly be kind of crossing through the Chesapeake. But this was an observed tornado near London town. And, a lot of the times these things will touch down, pick back up, touch down again. And it's just hard to track them. It's hard to see them. It's pouring rain. So we continue to watch that. And the other one is north of Baltimore. Less of there's no observation with it, but it is there. So we will, we'll mention that for our Baltimore folks who may be up there. They've got a dangerous storm on top of them with a tornado warning as well.
Our Matthew Capucci is chasing this storm down in the Annapolis area. He's reporting widespread tree damage down there as well. So I'm sure that the reports will start trickling into the damage with, again, the warning expanded northward through Anne Arundel County now until 3 o'clock. And there's that velocity that Caitlin indicated. This is moving very quickly. You don't have a lot of time to get into your shelter place, but we encourage you to do that to that lowest level of your home or an interior room. So, wow, very busy afternoon. And we actually, I'm going to retweet something here. Looks like Matthew got a little sighting of it down there as well, Caitlin. So
Now, where's he?
He was chasing on into Annapolis, so he is down in Anne Arundel County on that warned storm.
Okay, so he's by that one. That other one just west of Jarrettsville, north of Baltimore, flash flooding in Frederick. So right now we have two active tornado warnings in our area, becoming more of a Baltimore problem, but still. And then we have a flash flood warning for Frederick and Carroll. Also, as I go to warnings, I do see to the south another tornado warning. And again, this is just south of our area, but we've been watching all day. Problems south come north, and this could clip southern St. Mary's County. This is our latest tornado warning. This is for Lancaster, Middlesex, Northumberland, Richmond counties. So south of our area in Virginia, right along the northern neck. But a tornado warning's been issued there. This would be out of National Weather Service Wakefield, so I don't have too much information on it other than that it was issued. But putting radar back on, you'll see the storm. There it is, just to the east of Tappahannock. And that, Sue, could then cross over and maybe clip southern St. Mary's County.
And not to mention more waterspouts potentially across the bay and over to the eastern shore. So that all has to be watched. Caitlin, I think you made the quote board with problems south come north. And that's what we have been seeing for 24 hours.
You watched it all last night in Central Virginia. It was amazing. D.C. was under a tornado watch in the middle of the night, Sue. Thankfully, no tornado warnings here. But a nasty storm. It woke me up, assuming it woke you up.
I sure did.
And
I hadn't been asleep very long.
Yeah, and so now we've seen this all day. What's happened in southeastern Virginia has crossed over into southern Maryland, and now you've got storms north of Baltimore. So that's the path, and here's the path of this latest tornado warning storm.
Notably, by the way, Caitlin, everything has been east of 95 today, and that's where the bands with Ida have been. As Caitlin mentioned, the heaviest rain with Ida has been in the northern sections of our viewing area and west. That was well shown by our modeling yesterday and the day before. And these skinny bands that are associated with Ida as it continues to whirl its way up through Pennsylvania. Again, it's just a little north of Hagerstown right now, the remnants. Those bands, they're very narrow, but they have that rotation inside them, and that's where we're getting the tornado warnings. The whole area is still in a watch until 7 o'clock. We have a tornado warning for Baltimore and Hartford until 3 o'clock, and Anne Arundel extended until 3 o'clock. Clear at 3 o'clock as well. We have flash flood warnings in effect for Carroll and Frederick. Gwen was reporting up at the Monocacy yesterday. They were very concerned about major flooding there, so be aware if you live in that region. Carroll Creek is a known flood area as well. We have our hands full there. That flash flood warning goes until 5:30.
Yeah, there's also this one, the aerial warning for D.C. that I don't want to leave out. And by the way, heads up for those looking for camera shots, soon you'll be able to get pouring rain in D.C. again. We had a really heavy band come through about an hour ago. It was pouring. There has since been a break, but we've got another one right on its heels. So here we go. We've got a camera already in Fairfax that'll show you. That's coming in just a second.
It's already up.
There it is, Fairfax. So now we're watching this whole line move in from Virginia to the metro. We already have an aerial flood warning for D.C. I suspect we're about to get more warnings or reissuance of some.
Yeah, wow, what an afternoon. I mean, Ida no longer, I don't even know if it's still a depression or if it's considered an extratropical low right now, Caitlin, but even in its weakened state, the damage that this has done from Louisiana through Mississippi, through Tennessee, now into the Mid-Atlantic, into Pennsylvania, and onward into New York City. I know the Nationals game was canceled tonight. Good call there. Caitlin's showing some of the rain rates that we are getting with the storm that is in Fairfax County. We just showed you the camera, the heavy rain around Burke. I'm seeing, I think I'm seeing a little bit of lightning, too, up toward Frederick, but don't change cameras. We know that this is an important view. Caitlin's showing us that this rain is coming down at a rate of 1 to 2 inches per hour. Now, fortunately, these don't tend to last for an hour in one area. They're moving northeast at about 20 to 25 miles an hour. But can you pick up a half inch of rain in that short amount of time? Absolutely. And as we look at our Fairfax camera, The cars that are on the road there, you can see that they are going through water that is ponding very, very quickly and only going to get more intense. So good call to let schools out early to get kids home before the worst of this started moving through the metro area. And again, Caitlin's showing a path with the heaviest rain coming into Alexandria about 2:43, to Washington at 2:45, Berwyn at 3 o'clock, and then over to Lanham and Savage between 3 and 3:17.
Yes, we expect that this pocket of really heavy rain will just exacerbate the flooding issues that we already have in the district and the metro area. So far today, Sue, it's only been rain that's been the problem inside the Beltway. That could change, but you're right. We have mostly just seen the rotating storms to the south and east of 95. But I don't want
that
anyone
doesn't
to,
change.
Yeah, let their guard down, because, of course, we continue to follow these tornado warnings, which is the reason that we're still in the air. We came on air about 12:45. We're now going on almost 2 hours of continuous coverage here for these tornado warnings. It's been one after another that we've been tracking through the area, and the reason we stay on is because they are at any time capable of producing a tornado like what we saw in London Town in Anne Arundel County, just near Annapolis. So those we're still following that tornado warning, which I'll zoom in on. That cell that looks to be lifting out of Anne Arundel County here, Sue, and then crossing the Chesapeake.
So probably
that's good
yeah,
news.
Absolutely.
The one for Baltimore was canceled. That's good. This
right.
one is lifting out shortly. So now attention, turns to this one down in southeastern Virginia.
Right, that's considered the northern neck. It could clip St. Mary's County on its current path, and certainly head on over to maybe Wycomico not too far from Salisbury. This tornado warning until 3:15 for Lancaster, Middlesex, Northumberland, and Richmond counties. Not Richmond the city, but Richmond County in the northern neck. Again, radar indicated, but definitely some spin down there as well. We hope that as this continues northeast rapidly, that you're paying attention to it in places like St. George Island at 2:47, to Madison at 3:31. Cambridge about 3:41, and Trapp at 3:50. Obviously, we hope mariners know better than to be out. They tend to be pretty good forecasters and pay attention to what's happening on the water, but let's hope that everybody is watching this. Caitlin's got the velocity on there and not seeing the typical signature.
No, looks a little different, but there is still a little bit of velocity that's showing up. So just to circle that so everyone knows, if there's turning winds with height in the storm, that's where it is, where you kind of see those bright colors up against those dark colors. I'm not seeing any communities. This must be more of a rural area down there east of Tappahannock on the northern neck. But that's where it is, that part of the storm, the southern flank of it, if there is any rotation, I believe, within the tornado warning. So trying to get down to street level here to see some communities, but all I can see are streets, Route 3, Route 201. This is not really in our area, but we are watching this to see if the rotation moves into southern St. Mary's County.
Wow.
And so that's what we've got now.
Hey,
of
Caitlin,
course,
can I put in a request?
Yes.
Could we see what's going to happen later this evening with Futurecast? If we are definitely tracking these tornadoes, we're pulling out just a little bit to show you what is happening with radar. When these worst of these skinny bands move on through, Caitlin's got what we have is a future prediction. So we're not off the hook here. It looks like through the 95 corridor until sometime later this evening, maybe 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Showers will linger through 8 o'clock. The tornado watch itself goes until 7, but there's another band. I don't even know what time it is. Is it after 3 o'clock?
It's
only 2:39.
Futurecast looks a little bit behind, but I'm kind of going back and forth so you can see what's moving into the metro right now. That could be our last heavy band, because you see how that's a little bit behind Futurecast,
Right.
but it's got it up by Baltimore by 5, let's say by 4:30. So I think what's poised to move through could hopefully be the last really heavy band and maybe the last rotating band, because then it looks like we've just got showers.
Yeah, showers will likely continue, but perhaps the worst of this will be over by the time we conclude the evening rush. That's not to take anybody off the hook in terms of being very, very careful today, but just to give you some hope that this is not going to, we don't believe, last all night, and we certainly know that tomorrow's going to be a much more relaxing day, although, as mentioned earlier, flash flooding means that waters, streams, creeks, rivers are going to be at or above their banks for probably another 24 to 48 hours beyond this very heavy rain moving on through. Caitlin's tracking this heaviest rain that, again, this is not a warning. We're not tracking a rotation with this one, but we're tracking some downpours that could easily drop another ½ inch to an inch of rain on saturated ground through Mount Vernon at 2:48, through D.C. at 2:55, to Berwyn, Prince George's County hard hit, to Lanham and Bowie between 3:13 and 3:24. So on top of all the rain you've already had, another huge, big pouring down of water on top of the completely saturated ground.
Yeah, and I do think this might be the last band. How long it takes to get through, unknown. But the heavy rain does extend, by the way, up into western Montgomery County, Loudoun County. We don't want to leave you guys out. Up through Frederick. Of course, Frederick's dealing with a flash flood warning, probably from that area of red that you saw just go through. I mean, it's been raining most of the day, but they've had some really heavy stuff come through. And that's what prompted the flash flood warning. And
Caitlin, did they cancel the? Oh, no, the tornado warning is still up. Now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning with potential rotation just south and west of Salisbury as well.
yeah, so that could be a good sign that the direction of these storms is more easterly than northeasterly over to maybe the eastern shore versus up into St. Mary's County. Of course, these are communities under the severe thunderstorm warning, Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, that are outside our viewing area, getting closer towards Salisbury. Radar, well, not a tornado warning, but there is the potential for a tornado within, radar indicated. And that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 3:30.
That's just projecting probably the same cell that we're watching over the northern neck, moving right across the Potomac and the Bay into those areas. So west over Salisbury. Be prepared for this. You've already got one cell on top of you that's going to drop some really heavy rain, and another one may quickly follow. So Princess Anne to Salisbury between 2:58 and 3:14, to Laurel about 3:33, and to Seaford, that's in Delaware, at 3:39. Wow. Another camera up, Caitlin. Let me check and see if this is Fairfax. Wow, look at the heavy, oh my gosh. Looks like they've just started a fire hose and they're pouring it down on top of Fairfax. We've got a camera up showing the very heavy rain, how much of that water continues to pond as this is pretty much overwhelming some of the sewer systems. They did a good job getting ready for this, trying to clean out some of these sewers and, you know, drains and gutters to make sure that we can get rid of this water in a timely fashion, but it is pouring in Fairfax.
Yeah, coming down at a rate of at 1 to 2 inches per hour. It is just so much rain and coming in so quickly. By the way, Sue, they did cancel the tornado warning for Anne Arundel. I do want to mention that an emergency manager did confirm trees, wires down, damage to buildings throughout Riva, Woodland Beach, and Annapolis. So exactly where we mentioned the observed tornado. Sounds like where Macapucci is. So damage, certainly a lot of it indicative of a tornado. And it does sound like we do have Matt Capucci on the phone. He's in Annapolis. Matt, if you can hear me, tell me what you're seeing.
Yeah, so I actually just left Annapolis. There was tree damage all over the place. I pulled up near what looked to be a stadium-type thing there. Was looking west, saw the wall cloud.
Oh, look at that.
I started driving northward. Yeah, you can see the video on screen right there, I imagine. Started driving northward, and very quickly, the funnel touched down, rapidly condensed, tree damage all around, lots of debris in the air, and drivers were unwittingly driving into it. So I tried to pull over, waving at folks, yelling, hey, you're driving into a tornado. Don't keep doing that. But that's why it's imperative. Anytime folks are in a tornado warning, they get that alert on their phone, they have to pull off the road because most people have no idea what they're driving into until it's right up on them. And there you can see in my video exactly what I encountered just less than 30 minutes ago. I did see beams in the road in Annapolis. Some structural damage appeared likely, just given the fact that we were seeing home debris and whatnot. Tree debris all over the place. The road was littered with leaves. Just across the Bay Bridge. I'll be heading back over shortly to get some idea of the damage.
Unbelievable, Matthew. Thank you so much. I know you're reporting for at My Radar. You know, Matt, so many people say that they don't know what to do when they're in a car during a tornado warning. And some people, wow, look at the debris flying too. We're still showing your video. And, you know, people don't realize that probably the most important thing they can do is get to a sturdy shelter immediately.
Yeah, it's imperative. And I think the biggest thing, even because I was at the station less than an hour and 15 minutes ago, I drove out here as quickly as I could while attaining the speed limit. But a lot of folks were driving the road, had no idea what they were driving into. Even when the tornado warning came on, of course, bumper-to-bumper traffic given the heavy rainfall. But it's one of those things. People got to get off the highway right away. If they can't get to a site-built location, they want to either park their vehicle, remain put away from trees, or get into a ditch. And you saw this time around, as the tornado crossed right in front of me, people still driving into it. You don't want to do that. You never want to be moving in your car when there's a tornado because even if the winds are, say, only 100, 115, 120 miles an hour, which is enough to damage or destroy residences, that'll take down trees. That'll cause damage all over the place. And it's not just that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing through the air. And any piece of debris could be potentially deadly, even at 60 miles an hour, never mind 110, 120. Having seen the damage, I'd say at least an EF1 tornado, perhaps an even more significant tornado. And those are no small potatoes there. So it's why people really have to take this seriously. And on days like today, things pulse up, pulse down very quickly, so more of these are possible, especially on the eastern shore.
Wow, you and I've talked about this before, Matt. It's so hard to see these tornadoes in our area, and the fact that you got such a bird's eye view on this, really stunning, and it speaks to how dangerous this situation is today. You mentioned that people often don't know what they're driving into. A lot of times it's because they can't see it. It's either rain wrapped or the trees block the view, but boy, if anybody saw that today, their head had to have been spinning, and a lot of people, appears as though they were oblivious to what was happening just down the road from them. Incredible video, and wow, thank you so much. We appreciate your reporting. We appreciate the video and the fact that you were spot on there, and hope you are safe. And are you going to continue chasing this afternoon?
I think for the most part, where I'm chasing will be done. I may head back to Annapolis for some damage stuff. If you guys have a crew out there, I'll meet the crew, but I'll be doing continued stuff in Annapolis.
Hey, Matt, can you just let us know, tell me exactly, we got confirmation around 2:27 p.m. about a tornado observed over Arnold, right near Annapolis in Anne Arundel County, moving north at 30 miles an hour. Where exactly were you? And if you can remember, like, what time when you got this video, did you actually see the funnel cloud yourself? Like, just walk me through what happened for you.
So I pulled to the, it looked like a station, or rather a stadium right at 2:16 p.m. I could see the wall cloud to the west. At 2:22, I was driving north. The tornado was on the ground, passing me and paralleling me. At 2:23, I was in the backside where the leaves were coming down. We call that the rear flank downdraft for folks at home. We had kind of that cool air wrap around behind the tornado. I tried to chase it and continue doing so, but traffic, of course, was rough given the number of people who, well, there was debris in the road and it was just kind of impassable in many places. But that was, let's see, I had got off the highway. I was near, I believe, the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium and Football Lacrosse Center. So so I believe that's where I was when I got that first video looking westwards. I was on, it appears to be Route 70 North, just over the Cowhide branch of that river just off the Chesapeake. And then the tornado moved north towards Epping Forest and eventually Sherwood Forest. So it kind of crossed over, it looks like the Severn River, the Severn River, and continued farther north and east towards Arnold. But it was an impressive event. Obviously, very dangerous. People need to know, you got to seek shelter and things like this. You don't play around with this.
And
absolutely. And we're seeing, to what you were saying about rotation, a new tornado warning just issued northeast of there for Baltimore and Harford counties. Another observed tornado, which is coming from the same cell that produced the tornado that you observed in Anne Arundel County. So this is now the rotating part of the storm over North Point St. Park near Fort Howard. This is right near the Patapsco River, racing northeast at 35 miles an hour. So we continue to see with, I believe it was this one cell, back at 1:50 p.m., a report near Wacomico of an observed tornado. Then at 2:27 p.m., right near where you are in Anne Arundel County. And now we've just got a third observation northeast of there near North Point St. Park. So that warning continues for Baltimore and Harford County. I know where you are and where you saw this. It's a very busy area. And of course, kids are getting out of school. It's 3 p.m. Everyone's heard about the crazy weather. There's traffic. There's a lot to take in. Did you notice, you might have said this earlier, and if so, I apologize. Were people pulling off to the side of the road? Were they putting their flashers on? Were they trying to do something in the midst of all of this weather?
I will be honest, people had no idea what they were doing until I pulled to the side of the road. I was filming, of course, my reports. I started trying to wave down traffic, yelling, "You're driving into a tornado. Stop, you're driving into a tornado." And only then did people finally stop and go, "Oh, wait a second, look at that thing crossing in front of them." But one thing I think is worth mentioning, too, the structure of this, and I've chased tornadoes across the Midwest. This is number 8 for the year for me. This did not look like a typical tropical tornado. This was not your little weak down for a couple seconds, knock over the roof of a doghouse thing. This was a real deal tornado that looked to be a potential long track tornado, and I wouldn't be surprised to see perhaps EF2 damage out of this.
Well,
and
Matthew,
that makes it all the more dangerous. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I just saw a picture of damage on West Street in Annapolis that was tweeted by Eye on Annapolis, and it is significant. It looks like one of the tornadoes you might have chased earlier this year in the Midwest. There are big lines down. There are signs down. I mean, if I didn't know better, I would have thought this was a picture out of Louisiana. This is West Street in Annapolis, so tweeted by Eye on Annapolis. So if you want to go see some of the damage, that's a spot that you might want to check out, and please be very safe.
Yeah, I'm also
yes,
seeing.
I'm heading back in that direction. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm also seeing another one. Someone took a picture from one of the more business districts of Annapolis, and clearly a tornado on the ground. So you are right. To me, it looks significant. It looks more, like at least an EF1, if not an EF2. We have more video, it sounds like, coming in from Annapolis. So, Matthew, we're going to keep you on the phone. We're going to show more video out of Annapolis. We've seen pictures of this tornado. It's been confirmed. I mean, that is absolutely a large tornado on the ground in Annapolis.
Wow. I am blown away by this. That is amazing. And wow, it's like a wedge, isn't it, Caitlin? And
it absolutely looks to me like a large-scale tornado that you would see more in the Midwest, not one of those little funnel clouds or little things that spins down and pops back up. I mean, it's hard to say, Matthew, because it's been pulsing, this whole storm, all afternoon. But any indication how long you think it might have been on the ground?
To me, so I was watching what appeared to be really, really significant structure. So I could see the wall cloud. I could see, for folks at home, we sometimes talk about something called a dry spot or a clear spot that wraps them in the backside. That's where cool air comes down from above, wraps into the circulation and tightens it. And I could see that for upwards of 7-8 minutes. So this looked to be in the ground for, I'd say, upwards of 10 minutes, maybe more, considering that I first saw it at 2:16 and it was down near Edgewater. And I intercepted it at 2:23 and it was still going up by, I know we mentioned to the north and east as well. It was probably in the ground for upwards of 12 or 13 minutes at the very least.
Wow.
So this is not your typical tropical tornado. And even last night, we think about how tall those storms were, the crazy lightning rates. Tropical environments are usually these little low-top supercells. We're getting these. There's so much tropical spin in the air, but we're getting storms to the height of something you would see in a typical supercell environment. So really the worst of both worlds. We had sunshine earlier on briefly. That made the atmosphere just that much more juiced up. We have all that spin left over from Ida, and really you're getting a higher end event.
I mean, I'm seeing pictures, including West Street in Annapolis, such a busy thoroughfare. This is such a busy, wonderful community, and it is kind of shocking. I mean, obviously, we've had tornado warnings all day. We expect that there could easily be tornadoes, but the damage looks very significant, and the fact that it was on the ground so long, just highly unusual for our area. I mean, this is just...
That and the fact that this was something that, as you mentioned, was on the ground for a while, but the fact that it had that clean of a radar signature that I could see it ordinarily. You know, when we talk about these tropical tornadoes, they're wrapped in rain, and they very well still could be, but the fact that we were able to get a visual on it is so incredibly unusual for a tropical environment with cloud bases this low. And even the fact that at 1:30, I was at FOX5. I got on the highway. I drove through a couple downpours, and I positioned myself. I've done this before. I never expected to actually see one today. And yet, in the course of an hour from FOX5 out here to Annapolis and getting a tornado, such an unusual event.
And again, it looks like it's large. The damage looks significant. Again, on West Street in Annapolis, we'll get other pictures coming in, I'm sure, but you can see just how large this was, how unusual this is for our area, especially considering, as Matthew said, this is tropical remnants going through. That thing looks strong. Like Matt said, EF1, could we... National Weather Service will get out and certainly look at some of this damage in the next 24 hours, I'm sure. I actually just sent some of these videos over to them so they have an idea that this is a big deal down here in Annapolis.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, you continue to always be at the right place at the right time. So thank you for going into the storm and catching that. I know, we were watching it on our radar ourselves, and then, it was marked as observed, and everyone, is on high alert because that's, again, kind of unusual for this area, even with the tropical remnants. Water spouts, yes, but on the ground, confirmed tornado, not so much.
No, and I'm driving over the Bay Bridge right now, and I can tell you there are a lot of folks who are still on the roadway. Traffic heading eastbound is still backed up, going a little bit slow, I imagine likely because they encountered tornadic debris in the road over in Annapolis. But if you know folks who are planning to head this area, if you're at home watching right now, tell them not to. You want to avoid this area. Keep in mind there's going to be stuff on the road. There will be shrapnel on the road. You might get flat tires. There's going to be debris out there. First responders, crews out there have to do what they need to do. You might get electrical lines down. You don't know if they're alive or not. one thing that is always, it leaves an impression after a chase tornado is the damage afterwards, because we're scientists. We enjoy the science behind it, but we hate seeing the human impact, and you never want folks heading out there into that. So don't be tourists. Don't do anything like that. Stay home. We still have an active weather situation going on, and it's imperative that folks heed the warnings.
Absolutely. And I hope everyone can take this as how serious of a day it is and how serious the weather is, so that if we do have additional tornado warnings in our area, please heed those warnings. And anytime we mention one, this is why we tell you not to head out and to stay inside, basement, lowest level, away from the windows, because looking at the damage coming out of Annapolis, yes, it can happen here and it will. So we continue to monitor this very serious situation. Matthew, I know you said that you're headed back. It looks like a lot, those storms that are rotating are mostly east of us, north and east. This is shifting into more of a Baltimore and soon to be Delaware, Eastern Shore up towards Philadelphia issue. But we ourselves are still dealing with heavy rain. That's the second round of heavy rain, by the way, that's kind of pushing into the metro. And we're going to be monitoring to see if we've got additional flooding, flash flooding issues. What did you see? Any sort of flooding when it came to the rain out there?
I saw absolute torrential rainfall, but it was actually very brief. And I think one thing that's really always surprised me with these environments, you get the rainfall, it lasts maybe 30 minutes. You're getting crazy torrential downpours, worse than I've encountered in the Midwest, to be honest. I could see barely 150 feet in front of me. But I was surprised by people still going fast. I was surprised by people who didn't turn their lights on. So if your windshield wipers are on, folks at home, turn your lights on too. But one thing to keep in mind with these environments, because they're often low tops, you might not get those dark skies ahead of time. To be honest, the sky didn't really darken that much before the tornado. Yeah, it looked like a rainy day, but it looked like a typical downpour rather than this big, mean, nasty storm that you'd expect with a tornado. So don't base your actions on the environmental cues, because this is not the kind of day where you get these typical environmental cues. You're not going to get the dark sky. You're not going to get the hail. You're not going to get the gusty winds first. You're just going to get a torrential downpour that might have a tornado wrapped inside of it. And so these are not your big Midwestern-style supercells. They don't have hail. These are tropical supercells, but they have a history of these tornadoes and flooding rains, torrential downpours, and that's why we have the flash flood watch up.
And Matt, we're showing another video right now live on our air. This was tweeted by @MarylandBlueCrab, and you can see debris. It's a little bit more difficult to see the tornado in this one because of the amount of rain. Once again, getting multiple views. I just tweeted another video from Edgewater showing the very easy to spot tornado. This view not so easy due to the amount of rain, but it's out there, and we know it was big. If you look very closely, you can see the funnel there, especially right now. Wow. Amazing day.
The amount of tree debris in the air. One thing that always leaves an impression with me when I chase tornadoes is the smell of a tornado. And this was actually one of the closest intercepts I've had other than Selden, Kansas. But the smell, it smelled like the world's biggest lawnmower because of all this tree debris that was churned up. And that's a bad sign. That means that, if you're smelling that, obviously there's a lot of stuff in the air, and what goes up has to come down. So even after the tornado, you're still going to get debris coming down. I was in the backside, so I was in a safe spot. But areas downwind are still, even after a tornado touches down, they're going to get debris fall. And one thing I'm looking at, too, I have radar up on my dashboard, of course, focusing on the roadway, but it's in the background of the GPS. It looks like we have a second line developing, and nothing severe yet, but they all kind of have that kidney bean shape, that telltale hook that really believes a chance of yet additional tornadoes. So even though the first round's done, it looks like we're not done yet.
Yeah, it's been a long day. We hope. I'm sorry to hear so many people were oblivious to the danger, Matt, when you were tracking this, and that you actually flagged people down. I guess we have our work cut out for us in terms of the perception when it comes to a day like today. You think you've got the word out, you're tweeting it, and then you still hear about so many people driving right along the side of the highway where a tornado is right out their window. It's just, it's humbling in a way, isn't it?
Very much so. It's amazing to be that close to power, that kind of power. It's mesmerizing. It's beautiful. I think a lot of people become captivated, but despite the beauty, it's incredibly dangerous. And that's why people, you don't really have time to think. You have to act. And when it comes to these warnings, maybe 3/4 of them don't pan out. But that 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 times when it does, you're up close and personal to something that can cause injury or even fatalities if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm about 8.5 miles away from, it looks like, West Street right now. I'll give you guys an update as soon as I have information on the damage there. But obviously, I did see damage. I saw beams on Route 50 in the roadway. I saw what appeared to be roofs peeled back. I saw considerable vegetation debris in the roadway. So at least EF1 damage, maybe EF2. But ultimately, any tornado of any strength can be damaged. it's like saying even a weak grizzly bear. Well, obviously all grizzly bears are forceful. All tornadoes are forceful. And, it did cause significant damage based on what I saw. And, like you said, this is still going to keep going on throughout the afternoon. And people really need to know, don't drive into it. Heed the warnings. And if you know folks who might not be abreast of any warnings, give them a call. Let them know, too. It's a kind of teamwork sort of day.
Matthew Capucci, thank you so much. We appreciate your excellent reporting and storm chasing today. We are an hour away from our extended news coverage that will begin at 4 o'clock. And because there is no longer a tornado warning in the immediate area, we're going to take a break. We're going to reset. Let me tell you, if we get additional tornado warnings, as Matthew said, some of these storms coming up the pipeline from south to north still look pretty hefty. We'll break in again. But we've been on the air for pretty much over 2 hours now. We're going to take a break. We are going to join you again at 4 o'clock. We will have the pictures out of Annapolis, and we urge you to stay safe and keep it here on Fox 5. Thank you so much for joining us for our extended tornado coverage today. We'll see you at 4 o'clock.